Hi, good morning. Welcome to The Big Issue. My name is Selorm Adonoo. The Big Issue is live on 97.3 City FM. We're also live on our socials. And as always, we are happy to hear from you. You can join the discussion as always via our WhatsApp line 020-444-7033, 020-444-7033, or 0549-986-996, 054-986-996. We'll be happy to share your views with the rest of the world. Two key issues on the table this morning. This week, Speaker of Parliament adjourned Parliament sine die, which means that until further notice, Parliament has been suspended. The majority leader was unhappy with this, and he has triggered a recall of Parliament, sent a circular around for people to sign, and that is a procedure for recalling Parliament. He has done that. We await what the Speaker will do. But of course, all of this did not happen in isolation. Last week, the Speaker made a declaration in respect of some four members of Parliament who had either gone independent or an independent who had become partisan. And the Constitution, we all thought, was clear on this, that once you cross carpet, you lose your seat. Your seat is to be declared vacant. And of course, there was precedent to this. In 2020, the Formina MP, incidentally also part of this four, went independent when he had issues with his party. The party wrote to the then Speaker, Michael Kwe, saying that he had forfeited the membership of the party, and so that seat was vacant. Speaker of Parliament declared the seat vacant, and because of the Constitution and the timing, there could not be a by-election, because by the dictates of the Constitution, 3 months to elections, you cannot have a by-election, So the situation now, tilts the balance of power in Parliament. As you may know, from January 7, 2021, NDC had 137, NPP 137, and the one independent candidate was the man who tilted the power in favor of the NPP by making them majority. Now that independent candidate, who incidentally became the second deputy Speaker of Parliament, now has to now is going back to the NPP, or has gone back to the NPP and contesting on their ticket, leaving the independent slot, as it were. The argument is that all these things affect the next Parliament, and it shouldn't be this Parliament. Speaker Babin was called upon, and he made a declaration. Even before that declaration, the majority leader, Afenyo Markin, had ran to Parliament, to court, to seek interpretation on Article 97, 1G and H. And the Supreme Court has been seized with the matter. The Speaker made a pronouncement, and the Supreme Court was called in a day after the decision to stay execution. We were all waiting to see what the Speaker would do. The Speaker came, said that because of the circumstances, he was adjourning the House sine die. That is where we are now. The question is, now Parliament is not working. What implications is this to our statehood? A number of bills supposed to be passed. This sitting will also hear the allocation for the next quarter, because of course this is an election year. Next year we'll have a new government, and so there needs to be some money allocated for the first quarter before the new government settles. All of that will have to be done this term, or this meeting. What becomes of all of that? Also, the parties are campaigning, and the candidates are campaigning. John Mahama, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia are crisscrossing the country. Dr. Bawumia was in the Volta region, or is in the Volta region. We saw quite some numbers. His people are happy that Volta region is turning up for them. Mahama has also been around the country making statements here and there. What is the status of the race? What issues will tilt this election? It's education, the economy, road. What is it? The NCC has come up with some list. Global Info Analytics has also come up with some list. The lists look quite similar. We'll discuss that and see what issues will tilt the election for you. What will you look at to cast your vote? So these are the issues we are looking at this morning. I'll take a short break. But before that break, the Speaker of Parliament, Abba Babin, has announced the indefinite adjournment of parliamentary proceedings, a decision made on Tuesday, October 22. This move comes after a tumultuous day in the chamber, characterized by heated disputes between MPs from the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress over the question of which caucus holds the majority. Channel 1 News' parliamentary correspondent, Nia Yikwe has more in the following report.
Parliament resumed from recess on Tuesday, October 15, 2024, with a petition from the Minority Caucus demanding that the Speaker declare the Selorm Adonoo West and Amenfi Central seat vacant due to their MPs deciding to contest the upcoming elections as independent candidates. The caucus also demanded the Formina seat be declared vacant following the decision by its independent MP, who is also the second deputy speaker, to contest the 2024 parliamentary election on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party (NPP). After 48 hours, the speaker declared the 4 seats vacant, citing the Constitution, parliamentary standing orders, and precedents.
Accordingly, I proceed to inform the House that by the notification of the polls, the following members of Parliament have by their actions vacated their seats in Parliament. The members are Honorable Peter Yao Kwashi Aka, NDC MP for Amenfi Central in the Western Region, now referred to as an independent parliamentary candidate for the same constituency. 2, Honorable Andrew Amwako Asiama, independent member for Formina constituency in Ashanti region, now referred to as MPP parliamentary candidate for the constituency. 3, Honorable Kojo Asante, MPP MP for Suhum in the Eastern region, now referred to as independent candidate for the same constituency. And finally, Honorable Cynthia Mamile Morrison, MPP MP for Agona West constituency in the Central region, now referred to as independent candidate for the same constituency.
However, the Supreme Court issued a stay of execution in response to an injunction application filed by the Majority Leader, Alexander Penyamaken.
This afternoon, we've had justice. Now, those NDC people who are, walking all over the place, proclaiming, if they know the law, they should now face us in the law. This is the Majority Leader speaking.
Despite the court's ruling, the Minority Caucus maintained it would fiercely guard its new role as the Majority Caucus.
The NDC now constitute the Majority Caucus in this 8th Parliament. We will jealously protect our new majority status and will not bow, retreat, nor surrender our lawfully earned status.
Yes.
On Tuesday, October 22, there was a heavy security presence at the Accra International Conference Center due to the escalating tension between the two groups. Both NDC and NPP MPs occupied the majority seat in Parliament, with the leaders of both caucuses sitting interspersed at the front bench, but still managing to engage in civil discussions. The Majority Leader arrived with his caucus members but left after failing to secure front bench seats.
We are leaving this chamber peacefully into our offices, await Mr. Speaker's arrival, and if he calls leadership and we do precedent discussions, we'll take it up from there. But for now, that lawless theater will not share with them, because Ghana, our country Ghana, is bigger than any one individual.
The Speaker, Alban Bagbin, chaired proceedings and later adjourned the House sine die.
In view of the current circumstances, the fact that there is a question on the composition and constitution of Parliament, and having regard to the public interest and the exigencies of the state of affairs in Parliament, I will proceed to, in accordance with Standing Orders 59, adjourn the House indefinitely. That is sine die.
After all the brouhaha, the tensions, the House has been adjourned indefinitely by the Speaker. Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okan. All
right, so that was a recap of what has been happening, and that's how we've reached here. Parliament, a process has been triggered by the MPP side to recall Parliament. And so yeah, that's our discussion this morning. To help us with the discussion will be the Honorable Yusuf Sulemana, Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, on the ticket of the NDC. We have Kingsley Amoakwa Boedu, member of the MPP Legal Directorate. We have Clement Akolo, who is the PRO, or Communications Officer or Director for the Parliamentary Network Africa. We have Franklin Kuju, as always, President of Imani Africa. Gentlemen, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right, let me start off with you, Honorable Yusuf Sulemana. You are in Parliament, and we saw quite a number of things this week. Did you anticipate that Parliament was going to be adjourned sine die when Friday happened? Of course, Thursday happened when the declaration was made about the vacancy of the 4 seats. Quickly, Supreme Court made a decision based on an ex parte motion. So we got some result on Friday. So going into the weekend, you as an NDC Member of Parliament, what was your thinking into the weekend, then Monday, then Tuesday when Speaker adjourned the House? What was your thinking around, what were you thinking about over the weekend into going into Parliament?
So first of all, let me say good morning to our cherished viewers and my presidential candidates, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I say good morning.
Whose seat you have inherited?
Sure. Good morning and wishing him all the best. From where I sit, it was a surprise to me that the House was adjourned sine die. When on the 17th, the Speaker declared the 4 seats vacant, my expectation was that subsequently the current minority side would have taken their position as minority, and then the current majority would take their position as majority. We had also heard that there was some ruling from the Supreme Court restraining Mr. Speaker from going ahead with his decision. So if we are taking our positions, the normal thing would be for Speaker to communicate whatever message he has, whether it's coming from the presidency, whether it's coming from the courts, what have you, to us. Then we now, on the basis of the message that he will give us, react. Unfortunately, the minority side felt they were too big to go sit at the left-hand side of Mr. Speaker, and so they decided not to go by the earlier directive. Because you cannot go out there, just listen to some news item that, oh, there's been a judgment that Mr. Speaker is supposed to stop what he was doing in terms of declaring the 4 seats vacant, and then you begin to act on the basis of that. And that is why this morning I have here our order paper. This is how business of the House is arranged. So you have prayers, roll call, message from the president. If there was any message from president, the speaker will read it out. If there's any communication from he himself, in this case, he would have been talking about the judgment that he received or the service that he was given by the Supreme Court. But the House needed to have been constituted, okay, before he's able to communicate this to us. Thereafter, if there was the need for any decision to be taken, they will now look at whether or not we have the quorum to take that decision. But day one, they said they were not going to sit at the left-hand side and that they disagree with the Speaker's ruling. If you disagree with the Speaker's ruling and you run to your Supreme Court and you were given whatever judgment.
Your Supreme Court, our Supreme Court.
You say?
Our Supreme Court.
Honestly, if you ask me, is your Supreme Court?
No, the Supreme Court
I have interacted with a number of them, and they have told me, and they have told me that we own the Supreme Court. Okay,
but that will not be correct.
Yeah, so and that's why I'm referring to it as their Supreme Court.
But that will not be correct. Let's say.
In any case, there are
so
so many lawyers today who will tell you that any case that is taken to the Supreme Court now, you and I can sit here and determine the outcome before even judgment is passed.
Really?
Yes.
No, but
Sophia Akufu, a learned legal luminary, a former
Chief Justice.
Chief Justice said this.
That what? That you can determine the outcome. But
yeah, it's becoming so predictable.
Yeah, but predictability.
And so the minority today, and I've interacted with some of them, they'll tell you that, oh, this case, this is how it's going to go. And then the next moment, it goes that way. So for me, I see that as their cause. I see that as their cause.
No, but that's not factual.
And the independence of the judiciary is thrown to their dogs.
That's not true.
And that is why I refer to them, in my opinion, I refer to them as their Supreme Court.
But you know that's not right.
That is my opinion.
Yeah, no, but your opinion.
And I'm entitled to my opinion.
Your opinion must be grounded in the Constitution. The Constitution establishes 3 arms of government, and we will come there. The Constitution. You belong to the legislature, another branch, and then the Supreme Court or the Judiciary, of which the Supreme Court is a part, is the other one. So for the sake of everything, let's keep it as it is.
I agree. Let's move on. But that is my opinion, and I just needed to tell you that is my opinion.
Facts.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was surprised that first they refused to come in, and even when they later came in. There were about 15. Only 15 people, I counted them. So even if they had agreed to go and sit on the left-hand side, they would have been exposed. Because majority of them that day didn't turn up.
Why?
I don't know. Because within them, I can tell you, within them, they are not happy.
Why are they not happy?
They are not happy about the way their leadership is carrying them around.
Which leadership? The leadership of
the minority leadership. I'm talking about the Afenyo-led leadership. Okay? And we speak to each other. So that day, even when we were there, we were seated at the right-hand side. Some few of them, or 3 of them walked in. And when they walked in, I engaged some of them. And they said, I said, are you having a meeting somewhere? Because we are not seeing you around. I said, oh, most of our people are not coming. No, they won't come.
They are campaigning, perhaps.
Then, exactly. So if you are campaigning, why blame the speaker for...
But not because they are not happy with their leadership.
Whatever it is. So if they will leave parliamentary business and go and campaign, and we, in minority, will come in our numbers, and as a result of that, we didn't form quorum to take a decision. What do you expect the speaker to do? And given the kind of things that are happening now, the speaker decided to call it a day and to say that he is adjourning Parliament sine die. It was a surprise to us, but I thought that it was the right decision to take at that time.
You could have adjourned to the next day.
No, because their position was that they were not going to sit at the left-hand side. Again, even when Speaker met with leadership, I was around. I went to Parliament that day around 6:15 thereabout. Yes.
You wanted to go early
to take a seat. You ask my driver and my police, they'll tell you. They didn't come to meet me in the house. I drove myself and got there very early. So all what happened, I was aware. In fact, the first thing that I saw that made me panic was the number of MPP people from Anodon Press constituency wearing his T-shirt in Parliament. Then I asked myself, what was happening? Okay. Then again, when I got to the chamber, I saw Anodon Press inside. Meanwhile, we were given a directive that the chamber will be accessible after 8 o'clock. So I went to the security guys and asked them, why is it that we're given a directive that until 8 o'clock we shouldn't have access to this place? And Anodon Press is sitting there as a member of Parliament. The first guy who spoke to me said that, the 9th watchman didn't lock the place. And so he had his way in. I said, stop saying this. Go in there and tell him that by the directives, and I know he has read it, he was not supposed to sit there. So go in and tell him. Then the second security officer said, no, he came and forced himself in. And you know, sometimes when we talk, we are tagged. Okay? Then I said, at this point, I will not burden these guys with this. Then it was reported to our leadership, and we insisted. You would have seen Honorable Abuja, you know, making those comments that, look, there's the need for him to come out. What were they doing? What were you planting there? Okay?
No, he didn't want what you guys did on 6 January to happen again.
Which is?
When you guys went to sit somewhere.
But we entered and sat there. What he should have done was to get his members to come. There were only 19 or 15. Honestly, the
but
first.
How many were you guys?
We were about, look, only 4 of us were not, 3 of us were not there. Only 3. One is on official duty, and the 2, but they are all on official duty, okay? And I know some of them too are on official duty. I know all of them. I have the names here. I've taken my time to get all of that. So for me, they got it wrong. And so if Mr. Speaker, driving to his chamber, saw a number of MPP members wearing their T-shirts, okay, as a leader, he should be worried.
But
he should be worried to the extent that
come to Parliament.
No, you know there was an issue, and so if you had asked your members to come, assuming MPP, the way they brought their guys, Abuja had also asked NDC to bring his guys to Parliament. What would have happened? Be honest with yourself, Eden. What would have happened? And so the Speaker wants to avoid that. Assuming we had also brought them there, and there was any fracas, any chaos, what would have happened? Before you realize, it would have been the whole country. Is that what we want? And so we should call people out when they do the right thing. What Anodon did was wrong. And for me, if I were in the shoes of Speaker, among other issues, I would have adjourned the House so that there's calm, so that we are able to engage ourselves before we come back to start business. If not, we would have ended up creating so much confusion and chaos. And that's exactly what he did. So yes, it was a surprise to us that the Parliament was...
are you privy to what they discussed at leadership? Because we understand that the Afenyo Markin, I don't know that he walked out or he left maybe after the meeting concluded and he didn't come back to the House. Do you know what happened there?
So
why
I am so inquisitive and curious.
And you found out. So
and I always go to my leadership to find out. When they were entering, I was sitting there watching them when they entered. They went to Ducam Cliff, and when they were coming out, I met them. And they said, oh, the Speaker has agreed that he consulted us. And you would have heard Speaker saying that he consulted the leadership. He consulted us and said that we should come and take our seats. And once we take our seats, he was coming to adjourn sitting. And then Afenyo, according to my leadership, insisted that they wanted to know whether it was going to be indefinitely or he was going to adjourn for some number of days. And the Speaker said, leave that to me. I'll have that discretion. But all I want to tell you is that given the tense atmosphere, there's the need for me to adjourn the House. But as to whether he was going to adjourn Senate or not, he didn't disclose it, according to my leadership.
Why should that be a secret?
That is his discretion. Okay? And he didn't hide that from them. He told them I was going to adjourn. Let me tell you, it was possible that when he walked in, if he were seated peacefully, that could have even changed his mind to say that, why not, let's continue with business. So there was no need for him to even tell them whether he was going to adjourn indefinitely or he was going to adjourn for some number of days. In any case, the Speaker has the right to call back Parliament at any time. So if he says that he was going to be Senate 3 or 4 days time or a week time, he has the right to call us back. So there was nothing wrong with that. Even though it was a surprise to me, I thought that we were going to continue with business. But the truth of the matter is that many of them didn't turn up. Many of them didn't turn up. And that is why I'm not contesting the issue of not following quorum to commence business. In any case, when speakers told them that this is what he was going to do, they came back. And what we saw was to organize a press conference in the chamber for the first time. And this is what people should know. Some people are saying that, why were you marching and jubilating and all of that? If it was an abuse of parliamentary procedures and parliamentary business, then they started it. They called a press conference in the chamber, and the pressmen were there. It has never happened. And then after that, they walked away. And when they were going out, I started counting them. I counted them. I got about 15.
You're busy
about 15 people. Then you come and you want to blame the Speaker. I think that is out of place.
I see. I think what their point was that they needed clarity on who sat where, because we know that they sat to the right of the speaker and you guys sat to the left of the speaker. So they needed a clarity.
It's just the issue of ego. It's just the issue of ego. I'm coming. No. The issue is this. The person who is in control of the House is the Speaker. Mm-hmm. And the Speaker at a point said that 4 seats were vacant. Automatically, that made the NDC members of Parliament majority. Where we are obedient, that should have been the status quo. They should have accepted that this is the situation, but we are contesting it. So you go to court. Indeed, they went to court. The court ruled. The best thing would have been that, yes, we sit here as a minority for the time being, because we had gone to court, and the court has served Mr. Speaker, we were expecting Mr. Speaker to come to the chamber and officially read to us the
communication from the court.
From the court. And on the basis of that, he will take a decision. If Mr. Speaker at that point had taken a decision that...
You'd have complied.
Would have complied.
I see.
We are law-abiding members of Parliament.
Very well.
We would have gone to our side. But because of the ego of Honorable Adonoo and his leadership, he walked majestically and said that they were not going to take the Speaker's directives, and went to the media, organized a media press conference.
But they have a right to do that.
And yes, they have the right to do, and left. But you see them, if you give me time, you see where these problems are coming from.
Wait, I'll come to you from to tell us where the problems are coming from.
Thank you.
Let me speak to my senior, Kingsley Amoakwa-Boadu. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
It's been a difficult week for Parliament and politicians alike. I know you've been following this. Speaker adjourned the House Synod. People think that, given the circumstances, he had to do so to calm tensions. Your side is not happy. They say they've triggered actually a recall, etc., still using the rules, etc. First of all, give me your view on the Supreme Court's decision, and then the Speaker's decision to adjourn the House Synod.
Thank you very much. Good morning to my fellow panelists.
Good morning, Daya.
Good morning to viewers and listeners. I must say, Honorable, this is the first time I'm meeting you on a panel. And you made a comment which I am taken aback with. That
Which one? The Supreme Court?
That's their Supreme Court.
No, but I think we've addressed that.
No.
We've addressed that.
No, you can bring it up.
Okay.
You can bring it up. You can bring it up.
I think that at this stage, we are getting towards an election, and we have a heightened atmosphere. And so comments we make should rather dampen the heightened atmosphere so that we can go and queue and vote. Elsewhere, you just take a bus or tube, you just go queue, you vote, you come back. No police policing something and all that. I think the more we are becoming aware, the more we should also become aware that we should create an enabling environment where we can just go and come in your parliament. You guys are friends. You are lying to us. You are lying to the people of Ghana that you are enemies. You are friends. There are times you would just put you 1 tin of milk. All of you on the floor will share the same milk. But your followers are behaving as if they are enemies. And so what happens between you, translated down. We have different political views. We are all looking for the development of Ghana. Let's not create this. When we come on air and we leave, we chat to change numbers. The people who have advised me, Kingsley Amoakwa-Boadu, to go for the Asin Central seat, majority of them are NDC people I've met on set. That is how it is. We are brothers. So things we say shouldn't get us to, antagonistic level. It's not nice. And the Supreme Court, they do their job. That's the only
as much as I don't want to intercept,
that's the only
but I think that the comment has nothing to do with creating any tension.
That is the only and
that should be corrected.
That's the only
but I'm not sure.
He's saying that that's the
only of government.
We should make comments that will not create any tension. I'm saying,
I think it's a general.
By referring to
is
responding to the issue of me referring to
the Supreme
Court as their Supreme Court. And I told you that I have spoken to quite a number of them, whether they are joking or they mean it, they tell you that that's our Supreme Court. We own them. We were going to get this. And lo and behold, the next day you get it. What impression are you creating? What perception are you creating?
So, as I was saying, the Supreme Court does their job. That's the only arm of the three who are not voted for. Okay? And so they are not there in their capacity as belonging to a party. They belong to the country. We, as a people, if you look at the Article 1 and even the beginning of the Constitution before we go to the articles, it says that we, the people, have adopted for ourselves this Constitution. Then we go to Article 1, it says it is the highest law of the land, the fundamental law of the land. Every other law, including the orders of Parliament, are subject. Then he gave the Supreme Court the only power, the only body, the sole jurisdiction to interpret the Constitution. And when you look at 2:1, when it gives that, it has the power to give directives, and it must be complied with. If the president doesn't do so, the president will be impeached. It's subject to an impeachment, plus the vice president. Then after that, if any public official doesn't do so, the person cannot hold any public office for 10 years after imprisonment, and that imprisonment is without a fine. It is that serious. And it gives that constitutional interpretative jurisdiction just to the Supreme Court. Okay. In other jurisdictions, like UK, it is said that Parliament can do anything apart from turning a male into a female. Sorry, can even turn a male into a female and a female into a male.
But that's
that was when.
But that's because you have the
was,
parliamentary supremacy.
Exactly. That was when the Apex Court was part of the House of Lords. Now they are not even part of the House of Lords. So now you know what is happening. Even there, they are moving away from parliamentary supremacy to constitutional supremacy, and that resides with the Supreme Court. What happened when Parliament was prorogued? They went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court says no, it's not proper. When they decided that they are sending all the those who are seeking asylum, and they are sending them to Rwanda. The Supreme Court reverted that too. But that was a decision of Parliament. You see, so we are moving towards that position where we will have independent. I think that the Supreme Court judges are doing a great job. They need to be resourced. When you go to these established countries, they have clerks. These are first-class students and top-notch lawyers who research for them. Supreme Court UK has 4 each. US has 6 each. When you go to the the Court for Human Rights, they also have 6 each. The judges here do not even have that. When you go to Supreme Court US, they are a constitutional court. Here, we've mixed all cases to them as well. So with this whole load, if they are doing their best, they are being fidel to the Constitution, let us not bastardize them. Excuse my word. But let's not bastardize them. Then again, you see, the fact that someone will say, when this matter goes to the Supreme Court, this will be the outcome, doesn't mean that it is because they are in their pocket. I, sitting here, and we are all students of the law, no matter how many years you've been called to the bar, we're all students of the law. If a process is filed, I can just look at it and say, no, this thing, you should go here. But I am bound by my judicial and my professional oath that I cannot comment on a matter which is sub judice. So I will not, maybe the 2 of us, 3 of us, off air can comment on that. But openly, I cannot come and say this matter will go here. But I know it will go here because of some issues. You see, the Supreme Court is bound by stare decisis, which is they will look at their former decisions, and if they want to depart from it, they will elongate the panel and then give reasons why they are departing. So with all this in mind, if someone files a process and someone says, oh, if you look at this to go here, it doesn't mean the Supreme Court is in anyone's pocket. We have lost, my party has lost cases. We did not come out to blame the Supreme Court. No, it's either we are going for a review or and then there are several cases that NDC has gone for review. That is a proper way to go. So let's leave it as that. Let's not really. It hurts me.
If lawyer can tell me one political case that NDC has won.
But there are 2 forcing matters.
No, there are 2 forcing matters. There's a reason. And if you want us to go into that, we'll go into that.
There are 2 forcing matters.
I went to court with a forcing. a day before the ruling, okay? And the judge had asked that she wanted a timetable as to when to pass judgment. She had even given the date, okay? And asked that some witnesses will have to appear. All of a sudden, the case was thrown out.
But that's the Court of Appeal.
No.
So that's using the system.
No, what I'm saying is that when we went to court that day, I was there with her too. The judge had asked that we want a timetable. And we wanted to know who and who will come on what day as witnesses. And even when our lawyers asked that she should give us time to go, she refused, okay? And insisted that she wanted it.
Because she's managing her court.
It has to be done. And we're all thinking that she was going to go by that plan. I'm telling you that, it's not everything that will sit here to disclose. But I can tell you on authority that when you have judges, anytime there's a political case, and people can predict where it will go and it will go there, the perception you are creating is that people will see you as judges belonging to a group of people. And that's exactly what I've said.
I get the point you're making. But as lawyers, for example, there are times a process is filed, like he's saying, even on jurisdictional basis, you can say this will be thrown out.
And I'm saying that when it's becoming too predictable, and I'm not the only one saying this, I'm saying that very prominent lawyers and judges in this country, and I've just given you an example, said that, look, our Supreme Court is becoming too predictable. And you are lawyers. Go back and read Professor Atuguba's research work. Okay? We should all be looking at this and finding a way of resolving it. When there are political questions to be answered by the court, they must be careful. Okay? But if you are not careful and you do it the way you want it, within 9 hours, they have ruled. There are many cases that are pending there that will need this agency. They're not doing it.
It's because it is because
in somebody's pocket.
No, it is because
okay, especially so.
It is because
nobody says that. Nobody says that.
But he was actually on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
And Clement is here to make a comment.
It is because this matter before the court is what we call ex parte motion. Why would ex parte motion be lumped up with the substantive matter? And I'm sorry for being technical.
No,
here.
but
you can be technical, and I enjoy listening to lawyers.
So I mean, let's get to the point. The question I asked was about the decision of the speaker.
I'm coming there.
On Tuesday.
But you see, anything that is on the judiciary, as a lawyer, as a law lecturer, as someone whose father was a judge, because that is why someone had no business going to line up judges and killing them, and now it is being assumed as if it was from the head. It is because of these comments we make. Someone doesn't understand it, doesn't take that time to appreciate it. Is it also because of comments like this that some hoodlums attacked the court in Kumasi because yes.
I was coming to that.
So we should be mindful of commentaries that puts the judges in a particular light. That's all I'm saying.
And they must also be careful with their actions.
We should be very, very careful.
They must also be careful with their actions.
And then
they are human beings.
The reason why some of us now started going on TV and making, because lawyers generally, if you look at traditional lawyers, will not even come on air, is because the information out there was so contra what is actually happening in court that, that was my entry. And then before I realized, I said, let me actually align myself with NPP. On publicly, but that is the issue. we must consciously remove that.
Very well.
And then
I think we made that point.
Exactly. Yes. And secondly, it is good that these matters come to the Supreme Court because as a lecturer, there are times you are teaching or you are making a research, and there hasn't been any pronouncement by the Supreme Court on a matter. You have to go to America and UK, but the Constitution is suited to us as a living organism. You see, so when matters like this come up, and the more constitutional matters which touches on governance come up to the court, the happier we are. Of course, we can look at it and say, oh no, but this is this and this is that. I'm going to go into one of such. Let's look at the Order 18 of Parliament. In 2000, in the year 2000, right? And that was the order that Speaker Michael Quay used to declare a seat
Vacant.
18, it says, a member who desires to resign his seat. Am I looking at the right one?
That's a standing orders of Parliament.
Standing orders of Parliament.
Are you
Yes.
looking at the new one? Or?
No, the old one.
The old ones,
The old one.
Okwe's time.
Yes. Member desires to resign his seat in the House shall notify the Speaker in writing under his hand of his intention to resign his seat, and the Speaker shall inform the House as soon as practicable. Then 19, titled The Declaration of Vacancy in Membership of Parliament. In accordance with Article 19, 1B to H of the Constitution. The seat of a member shall be declared vacant by Mr. Speaker under clause 2. So then the Speaker had the power and the jurisdiction to declare it vacant. Okay. Now, in their own wisdom, in Parliament, my brother's own wisdom, they amended that. Why? Because if you look at the Constitution, okay,
They have amended it to what?
let's look at what is amended to. 18. The Speaker shall inform the House of the occurrence of a vacancy of the seat of a member under clause 1B to E, G, and F of Article 96 of the Constitution. The first one says, I declare seat vacant. This one said, this was 2003, standing orders.
2023 or
2023, sorry,
Okay.
standing orders. Do you know why? Because if you look at the Constitution,
But if you inform of the vacancy, it means the decision on the vacancy is being made. So you are informing them.
Precisely.
So there would have been a
there's no
decision
any-
made.
Precisely. But that decision, that declaration is not with Parliament. It's here. 99 of the Constitution. A High Court shall have jurisdiction to hear and determine any question whether a person has been validly elected as a member of Parliament or a seat of a member has become vacant. You see? So because it's when they amended, they said in conformation with 97. All right. In 97, it gives the premise upon which a seat will be declared vacant. It said a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat when this occurs. So it is not that the Speaker has declaratory jurisdiction. That is why they amended their laws. And so a decision to be made before a seat is vacated is whether, in this instance, because this whole thing, the Constitution is based on what we've experienced before. When we look at Article 20, we are saying that the government will not have compulsory acquisition powers anymore because of what has happened, because the people's views were seized and whatnot. When you talk about freedom, press freedom enshrined, the human rights. In fact, some Americans have said that one of the constitutions in the whole world with a lot of provisions on human rights is Ghana Constitution because of what we've been through, the military juntas and whatnot. Okay, so the same vein, this was placed in there because of the Third Republic. What's happening in the Third Republic? People have voted for. They go into Parliament and they cross carpet. What happens when you cross carpet? When you walk across that days to this side, you have cross carpet. So you vote for me as PFP or as PN. What was it? PNP, isn't it? PMP, and there was PFP. All right. Then I go in there only to change and say, okay, from now I am this, and then you couldn't. There was nothing that could be done. That was why some of the governance issues, including the budget of Dr. Hilary Liman, couldn't pass at the first instance. You see, so
But that wasn't because people cross carpet.
you know it's because people.
No.
I said that will inform some of the reasons why, because then people go in and then they cross carpet. To stop that, we put this here in the Constitution. Now, that same Constitution is saying that the person to declare that is the High Court. So what I'm foreseeing, because when I looked at some of the issues we are supposed to discuss as in the way forward, what I'm foreseeing is that there will be clarity concerning this from Parliament itself. My brothers will clarify that when this happens, what constitutes vacancy or vacation what would trigger, who should trigger it? Because we haven't seen here that which member brings it to the fore. Remember under Speaker Okwe's time, and there's still issue as to whether even that declaration was proper or not. But in that, it is a political party that wrote that this member is no longer with us.
But there was a forfeiture based on the constitution of the. But let me. So just but we've been speaking for a while. Let me. Just 30 seconds.
All right. But in this case, the party hasn't done so. The party is actually engaging. Engaging people like Cynthia Morrison and co. Unfortunately, when they put the picture there, then the news item started. She has already decided. Unfortunately, they've made it difficult for us to get our Cynthia back.
But who put the pictures out? You put the pictures out.
Yeah. I'm saying that when the
because
pictures,
you wanted a certain impression created.
No.
But too bad for you.
No. It wasn't that we wanted a certain impression. It is that we are saying that we are not a longer heads with hair. That's all. You are laughing. I like that.
No, but nobody's a longer heads anybody. I mean, they are in the house.
So we are commencing the process. Then, this media has released. Now the momentum is lost. You see, so I'm expecting my brothers, when they go, both parties, because this thing, it will end up in consensus building. Very good for us.
I don't tell you want that. Your side wants that.
No.
All right, so
I'll tell you why.
No, you tell us why. No, so Clement, you've been quietly listening to them. Yeah. You have been covering Parliament for a while, and you've been doing some work with Parliament. Are the occurrences we have seen in this Parliament and in the last couple of weeks especially, will you say they've been unprecedented?
Yes, actually with this 8th Parliament, a lot of things that have happened that have been unprecedented.
From the first day, isn't it?
Yes, from the first day, have been unprecedented. But they've taken it a notch higher, and some of the things we didn't expect, we are seeing it now. But some of us from the parliamentary watchers' point of view, we anticipated that there was going to be some tension in this 8th Parliament because of the sheer closeness of the numbers. But I think that they have pushed it a notch higher than we expected. But what we expected more from them was that this was going to help them to learn how to build consensus among each other, because that is how we believe that Parliament is supposed to be. That we come in and then we put the issues on the table. We judge as, big people who have been given the platform to actually run the country. So we will come to a consensus. But they are not learning this very quickly. Sometimes, unfortunately, we have to say that they are not learning this quickly. We are almost going to the end of this particular 8th Parliament, this hung Parliament, and this experimental period of a hung Parliament, and we don't see our members of Parliament coming to the table to actually make that beneficial to Ghana. So a lot.
But will it ever happen? And of course, they tell us that they agree on about 90% of things. It's just about 10% or less that creates this this kind of situation that makes people feel that MPs are always at each other's throats. But in actual fact, they've always worked based on consensus on many things, this Parliament and previous ones. So are you saying that there have been no consensus building as we've seen in the past, and that this Parliament, particularly, has been an outlier in terms of consensus building? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because the 7th Parliament, even the previous Parliament, we were saying that or the impression out there was that parliamentarians actually do not build consensus, or most of the time we hear this acrimony going on. But in the 8th Parliament, it has been even more. The consensus building has not been top-notch. We have had a lot of tensions right from beginning. And when it came to the passage of some controversial bills like the levy and all those things, we didn't see them agreeing more and more. What we want to see more is more agreement.
But how more agreement? That's great. Yes. But the view of the constituents, wouldn't that matter too? Because if you're always agreeing, they would think that you have you've gone to some collusion or some agreement with yourselves, and then this is what you are doing for whatever reason. Also, for example, e-levy, it used to be 2%, right? And no, it used to be 1.5? 1.
The proposal was 1.5.
1.5, and now we have it as 1%.
Yes.
So we started off with 1.5.
Yes.
I think then the suggestion was make it 0.5.
Yes.
But the executive said no, or the majority side said no. So how should they be agreeing? If you are agreeing, you should be ready to build consensus. So if it's 1.5, I want you to make it 0.5. Because, okay, no, let's make it 1. So we agree in the middle. So if there should be consensus building and agreeing, which side should be extending the olive branch more? Is it the minority side or the majority side, which has a business to do in the House?
It should be the majority side. So what we are saying, when we say that agree, we are not saying that they don't agree, but we are saying that on some of the very difficult issues that raise up the tensions, for instance, like this particular issue where was it Thursday, the 17th, all of them actually wanted to sit on the majority.
No, that's Tuesday.
That was Tuesday.
That was Tuesday. The declaration was made on Thursday.
Yes, on Tuesday. They all wanted to sit on the right side of Mr. Speaker.
How would consensus have helped this? Because everybody is seeking to make a point.
That's the point we are making. That you see, this 8th Parliament has provided the opportunity for them to, before they come out there, they need to build that consensus on the basis of holding a country together. That is why we believe that Mr. Speaker took that decision to actually adjourn the House, because all of them wanted to sit at the right side of the Mr. Speaker. And like the governing party, for instance, should have more, because of, I want to be politically correct here, so that
no, you know that you're afraid of them, so you don't want to.
Not afraid.
The guy is sitting by your side. He's
He's afraid of them.
Yeah,
because now when you are talking to them and you say minority. This one says,
but
I'm not a minority.
not continue.
So
You realize that he had used the word majority until
earlier.
when he got to the fact that he didn't come to Parliament. He said, when we in the minority are in Parliament, as
No, I wasn't. No, if you listen to me very well,
It
not
will take
even
a
that.
while.
I wasn't confusing
But all
myself.
we're trying to say is that this is like we have to wake up and
So will you say,
smell the
let me
coffee.
push it, will you say that the kind of leadership the two sides have is to blame for this? Because will you say that they have hot-headed leadership or leaders? And is that a part of the problem? Because if you want to be building consensus, you shouldn't have people who are hot-headed, who have something to prove or who want to do this. You need to have people who are ready to lay a few things down, pick up a few other things, work together, do this, etc. But if you have two young people, for example, in Atufosin and Apenomakin, who both want to prove a point, this is where you get to. Would you agree to that?
Yes, I will agree to that up to an extent. What we are trying to say is that, you know, because the two main political parties in the past have all enjoyed good majority in Parliament, where they were able to do things, whatever comes through Parliament just gets the nod and goes because they have majority. They do not have the need to consult the other side. And therefore, that kind of mentality still reigns. That's why we're saying that.
But who should work on that? Who should work on that?
It is actually those in the majority.
But have they been
Because
doing that?
you have
business
to do. So we were thinking that, knowing that we are in a different, because the dynamics in Parliament have changed. So if you don't come up with new ways of doing things, then it means that we'll be going the old ways of having these particular issues. So the majority side, which is Afonya Markin's side, I was thinking that they would be able to see through some of these things and then come up with ways to bring the other side along. I think that we've been saying that there is this winner takes all in our politics, which actually makes the minority sometimes want to stand up for themselves, where they think that whatever they say, they do not have opportunity to participate in the decision-making process. And therefore, now that the House is almost at par, they also want to prove a point and to make sure that whatever they are saying gets heard. And if the majority side, who have a lot of work to do in Parliament, do not reach out to them on a consensus basis, then we'll be having
but
this
from
challenges.
what you said, do you think the majority has been reaching out and they have not been listening, or you think the majority has not really been doing a good job at that?
No, I think that the majority have not been doing a good job at that. If you remember,
why is it so? Why so? Why
yes,
are they not reaching
that's
out?
why I was saying that because of previous
Yeah, but it has
incidents.
changed, and you can't live in the world of having, or in the past where you had overwhelming majority. By now, the situation should have, in fact, it should have dawned on you the very first day you took the oath of this parliament that things are different. So you change your approach.
So they are not learning that aspect of it, and we are thinking that we can use the law and use other means and maneuvering, political maneuvering, to be able to push things through. And we are not saying this only about Honorable Afenyo-Markin administration. But yes, I had this particular challenge during Osei Mensah-Bosu's time as well, because some of the things that got discussed on the floor of Parliament that you thought that could have reached out to the minority side, that is the NDC side, so that they would agree on issues, it gets bogged down by a lot of arguments and a lot of legal issues and all those things, and then we don't get them agreeing so that we'll have a very good consensus on the floor of Parliament. But we think that this is a new time, a new opportunity for us to learn how to build consensus on very important issues.
It's a new time, but a new time, we are 2 months to the end of that new time. So it's actually not a new time.
That's why I was saying that they are not learning quickly.
Others will say that even despite this thing you call they're not learning quickly, they've been able to pass almost everything they want to pass. They passed e-levy, they got the Supreme Court judges through, they got their ministers through, they got almost everything. So what was the point in reaching out there? Yes,
so they got everything through, but it was not like how it was in the 7th Parliament.
Yeah, but the result is what matters. They have the result.
It is not the same, because look at it. This time, a lot of the things got passed, but it got the people knowing actually what was going on in Parliament.
But that's good. People must know.
Yes, people must know. But previously, you wouldn't even hear it, because they had the majority. Things just went through. Now it draws a lot of people, like civil society organizations, to actually get to know what is going on.
So that's good for the people.
That's exactly the point we are making. So it means that this 8th Parliament has actually brought that up, because both sides have, or they have something to say about it. They also use their numbers or the new gain status to actually push the issues. And then the issues get into the public domain, the media feeds on it, civil society organization feed on it, and then the whole idea now gets more...
So what do you say to people who think that this parliament has been the worst in the 4th Republic because of the bickering and because of the difficulties with the numbers? You are saying that it's good somewhat.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who think it's been the worst because they've not done a lot of work?
No, I disagree. I disagree completely that this parliament has been the worst. I disagree, because some of the things I'm talking about now, you see, even the e-levy we are talking about, when the issue came, even though it got through, it got passed, you realize that the actual percentage they wanted, it came down. Why did it come down? It came down because when the debate started in Parliament and got the attention of the public and people fed in and all that, now the government of the day realized that, no, I must do something about this. And therefore, it got the attention to let it come down. And other decisions that have been taken in Parliament, because the minority brought it out or it got some attention from outside, now we realize that things
changed. Civil society came in and offered their opinion. And then the government of the day will now see that, no, I cannot just have my way, but I have to also talk through and reach out to the other people. And one interesting and beautiful thing about this 8th Parliament also is that it made you to see that when members of Parliament are given the right opportunity, they will use it rightly for the benefit of their society, for their constituents, or even stakeholders that are not presently in Parliament. Look at the issue that happened with when it came to the election of the Speaker, for instance. With the election of the Speaker, the NDC couldn't have done it on their own. But you realize that you got some members of Parliament from the other side joining this side to be able to do that. The same way when it came to the passage of some of the ministers, you saw that we had some people also coming from this side of the NDC side to join the majority side to be able to pass some of...
To join the minority side.
Majority side.
I mean, the majority,
Even the word.
To join the MPP side.
Yeah, to join the MPP side. To be able to
use those...
So you realize that when we leave our members of Parliament, they will be able to do things for or to the betterment of the nation. Now, that brings me to the issue I always have with the whip system. Because of the whip system, our members of Parliament almost always pander to the wishes of the political parties. That is where we have the challenges now, where they all want to sit on the right side of Mr. Speaker. And when you take out the whip system, then our members of Parliament will not be representing their constituents. Because most of the time...
But that would be lawless. That would be lawless for it's lawless the word actually. That would be disorderly for the political parties because they run on their ticket. Okay, so when you run on my ticket, it means that you've accepted my conditions and my terms. And so you don't go to Parliament and do what you want. But generally, you do what I want. You play within the framework I've given you. It doesn't mean you take hook, line, and sinker. But there's a framework you must play within. I must also benefit because you are there on my ticket. I have the convening power, the mobilization, power, etc. And you rode on that to come to Parliament. Perhaps if you had gone independent, you wouldn't have been able to mash out the numbers. And some people may not have known you, but because you were on the ticket of my party, you won. So I should have a say.
How about the constituents? Like Honorable comes to he's a member of Parliament for mine.
But he won because he stood on the ticket of the NDC.
No.
He won because of the NDC. I mean, you can argue so. Perhaps if he was independent, he may not, or he might not have won. Okay. The place he stood, I mean, that's John Mohammed's former, John Mohammed's constituency.
Yes.
John Mohammed's former seat. That's a stronghold of the NDC. If he perhaps ran on a different party's ticket, he might not have won. Okay. But so he's here because of the party. So you don't come to Parliament and say that now you are a person of your own, you have your own mind, so you do as you please. That may not augur well for the multi-party system we are
Yes, voted for him to advocate their
But you see, that's assuming that the constituents have a homogeneous expectation or demand or need. All right? They have varied views on things. So he sits there and he reflects the general view or need of the people. Some people, if you go, some people may say we need road, others may say we need KVIP, others may say we need schools. But he goes there, he looks at the situation generally, and he says, okay, this is what my people want, and he advocates for them. So he picks one of those and he advocates on those, and we get it. You understand? So he has a role to play. The constituents are important, but the political party on whose ticket he ran is also important. So I think it's a balance we must keep. But let me take a break. I take a short break. This is a big issue on 97.3 CTF. We're looking at the happenings in Parliament, and we're getting into other things. My guest, the Honorable Yusuf Sulemana, Member of Parliament for Boli Bamboy, Kingsley Amoakwabudu, Member of the MPP Legal Directorate, and Clement Akolo, who is the Comms Director for the Parliamentary Network Africa. I'll take a short break. I'll return, and then we'll delve into some other matters in respect of the same happenings in Parliament. Don't go away. All right, welcome back. This is a big issue. Your comments are welcome via our WhatsApp line 02044470033 or 0549986996. My guest this morning, the Honorable Yusuf Sulemana, MP for Boli Bamboy for the NDC, Kingsley Amoakwa Buedu Esquire, member of the MPP Legal Directorate, and then Clement Akola, who is the comms director for the Parliamentary Network Africa. And of course, Franklin Kujo will join us at some point. We are looking at the happenings in Parliament. Speaker adjourns the House, Senior DA, the MPP side, led by Afeni-Markin, has triggered a recall of Parliament and all of that. We'll get into that to understand what businesses are pending before the House and what will this recall do? Is it for a specific number of days, or you recall Parliament and so Parliament stays? How many more days normally would they have left before they go for recess again, because they have to go campaign and then win their seats and come back to Parliament? So Honourable, so what is in the thinking of the minority now? What of the MPP side? What are you guys going to do, or you just await the Speaker's ruling? You know, what will you do? What is your plan? What are you seeking to do now?
Selorm, just before I respond to your issue, a lawyer made some very important points. The issue of treating judges very well so that they're able to do their work. The question I want to ask is, whose business is that? It is the executive, it is government. Are we doing it? Even their houses where they stay, we have demolished many of them.
And give them houses.
But they are not sleeping on the street.
No, yes, but of course, you have demolished houses that they were using, and I can tell you that many of them are not happy, because where you have taken them, they would have wished to be at where they were. So you are not motivating them enough.
Not cutting you.
Again, he was talking about.
Are not happy because they consulted you.
No, wait, let them land.
They consulted me.
Yes.
No, but we know some of them resigned.
It means that
some of them resigned.
When people have
Some of them
conversations with you,
resigned.
don't come here. And
No,
discuss
I haven't mentioned anybody's name.
Yeah, but still.
But what I'm saying is that it's public knowledge.
Don't do that.
It is public knowledge.
Okay. All right,
It is public knowledge that many of them are not happy because you have demolished their houses. You are the one talking about treating judges very well, motivating them. And I'm just drawing to your attention to the fact that your government didn't treat them well. We are talking about treating judges very well. Is it the case that you want to bring more judges on board, or you resource the few that are there? Go and look at the number of judges that you have piled up in the courts. Is that the way to go?
But
if you ask me,
but would you agree that the courts have increased? Number of new courts have been built.
I agree with you.
New courts have been built,
also go and look at the numbers of judges that they have brought on board, and whether
but
or
new
not.
courts and new judges.
Yes,
right?
but I'm
Once
asking.
new courts,
So the issue here is, how do you treat them well? Is it by bringing on board many more judges and opening more courts,
Yes.
or the few who are there, you motivate them to put up their best?
But their remuneration
Again,
has gone up.
That is not what we're talking about. He sat here and said that we should treat them very well. And I'm just adding to what he said. Okay? And I'm also saying, on the issue of charges and whether or not we should be careful with the comments that we make, I'm very careful. But they are human beings, and they make mistakes. And when they make mistakes, we will have to point it out. Again, he admitted that in this country, under their regime, judges were chased out of court. What happened to those who did that? Mere small punishment, and they are free. You are only asking people to do worse. And so these are the issues that we should look at. Having said this, I now come to respond to your issue. You see, for me as I sit here, the way to go would have been for the minority side, led by
Afenyo I need to be sure.
to engage Speaker,
engage
some stakeholders. And don't forget, when Speaker was ruling, when he was adjourning the House Senate, he said that he was going to do consultations. One would have thought that Afenyo would have learned a lesson from that and take advantage of that. By now, you should have constituted some group to meet with the Speaker, and then we'll begin to chart the way forward. But where he's going, I can tell you, he's failed. And I'll give you reasons why I'm saying that he has failed.
recall Parliament. It
is not going to happen.
Parliament will not be recalled?
It will be difficult.
How?
The
Speaker must recall Parliament 7 days after.
So I have the, what is it called?
The circular?
The petition here.
Okay.
And I have gone through the petition. And we will advise the Speaker Me, in person, I'm going to petition the Speaker.
Not to recall Parliament?
Not to recall Parliament.
Why?
And I have issues why I'll do that.
Why?
First of all, for them to refer to themselves as majority is a non-starter. If the Speaker should admit this, it will be a contempt. Because the Speaker told us that they are not majority. So on what basis are they now admitting their petition in the name of majority? That's the first issue.
Okay.
The second issue is that I have gone through the list of those who signed the petition. I won't mention names now. I realize that some people who are out of this country
Are inside.
their names are here
And he have signed.
signed.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you something. And you know what I've done? I won't expose it here now. They are friends. So I chatted them.
So
and
you
I
have
have
their
evidence
WhatsApp
that, so they signed for me. Are you
He's
getting
a
me?
dangerous man. No? When you have discussions with him, you can't sit and he exposes you.
Such
That's how things are done.
such a document.
My
There's
friend.
fraud in it.
Honorable, that's
It's
how things are
fraudulent.
done.
They'll delete the thing.
It's fraudulent. You can't delete it and say that it becomes authentic. It means
What I
that
mean is they'll delete the chat or the time is passed.
who will delete? Do you think I'm a
You that screenshot.
Oh. So I'm going to petition the Speaker, and I'm going to tell Speaker that this document is fraudulent. They believe in fraud, and so he shouldn't admit it. That is the second issue.
But wait, if you take out those names, they still meet the one.
No, it's not.
One-third, it's one-third of
No,
15%.
how will I know that the
15%.
rest were there to sign? There must be some investigation. So I'm calling on the Speaker to put up a committee to investigate the list and to be sure that if it means calling each one of them one after the other to find out whether indeed they signed the document, the committee should do that. Because there's evidence that,
How many people signed it from the face of it?
according to them, they said about.
What's the number there?
So the number is 138.
Oh, so it means all of them signed?
No, not all of them signed.
Okay, no, okay, not all of them will
Yes.
sign. Some of them signed.
The point is this. If all of them had even signed, but you need just 15%, by the end of the day, you have one name amongst them that is not, that is fraudulent, the whole document becomes fraudulent. Until some investigation is done to authenticate only the validity of the document.
But, no.
And that is where I'm coming from. So 3, look, Article 1123 of the Constitution gives the right for people to be able to recall Parliament. Okay? By in doing so, you must justify whether or not there's some emergency or agency of the situation. As I sit here, all the issues they have raised, they are not of any urgent nature.
Well, what are the issues they've raised?
Look, initially on the 22nd, they sent a petition. And then on the 24th, they withdrew that one and sent another one. And the second one they sent, they added some bills. And one of the bills is that they want to establish a university, J.B. Dankwa University of Engineering and Agricultural Sciences at Bonsu, Bill 2024. You call this an agent issue? And for which we should come back to Parliament.
But establishing university, is it not urgent or important?
It's not agent, it's important. Okay? Now, things that are even important, Kensley, your people have not brought them on board. For instance,
Like what?
we are talking about passing a mini budget, okay, for 2025.
Taking the wind out of myself.
One would have thought that this should be the most pressing issue, that you would have captured it here. It's not there. What they are talking about is establishing a J.B. Dankwa University, and they call it an agent matter. Are they serious?
The name J.B. Dankwa that they don't want to hear.
Again, we are all raising the issue of repealing Regulation 2462 of 2022, which gave the president the right to issue licenses for people to go into our forests to mine. They themselves have agreed. President himself has agreed. And we in the majority have also agreed that that law is obnoxious and that it should be repealed. One would have thought that it will find space in this petition. It's not there.
It doesn't find space there.
It's not there. And you call this agent? They should come again. Let me tell you what they want to do. They are saying that we should come and pass tax exemptions for 1D, 1F so they can get their kickbacks and go and do their politics.
How would tax
So
exemptions
that,
give kickbacks?
so that they can get
How
money to
would
go and
tax
do campaign.
exemptions give kickbacks?
So that, you see, me, Let me tell you, if you want to know how the tax exemption give, go and ask Honorable Kwatin, the MP for Obuasi, the former chairman for the finance.
Oh, he's no more chairman. Okay,
they have removed him.
He's spokesperson for.
They removed him because he's against the approval of the tax exemptions. And in his own words on the floor of Parliament, he said that look, these things will not ignore.
Who's the chairman now?
It's Patrick Boam.
Patrick Boam, okay, he used to be the deputy or the vice.
He said that this will not endorse the benefit of the country. And so for me, we should put them somewhere. As a result of that, they remove him. And now they are bringing it, and I can tell you, they are bringing it because they want to take kickbacks.
But how would they take kickbacks? With tax exemption? How would tax exemption?
Are you aware that even the agriculture minister giving approval to importation of some grains, rice, as part of the grains, is negotiating with...
Please.
For what?
I mean,
No, you can't, yeah, of course. You can't do this. You can't do this.
What have I said? What have I said?
You are impugning the integrity of your fellow member of Parliament. And he is not here to respond to that.
What have I said?
Tell me what I'm saying. He's negotiating with government.
Negotiating.
No.
Let's understand what
you are saying that the people want kickbacks.
Let's understand what he's saying.
Within the context of the kickbacks, you have mentioned a minister.
Kingsley,
he's not here to respond.
Will you allow me to finish?
I don't think this is proper.
Wait.
This cannot, it cannot be proper.
Let him land.
But you're already putting things in people's minds. And they are saying they should continue with this.
No, I raised this issue on the floor of Parliament. The answer is there. I'm not hiding it.
So,
and he was there, and he responded.
Yes, but here.
So let me...
The minister is not here to respond to that.
Relax. I'm not sure you...
Why are you in a hurry?
No, because you see,
they are babbling you when you are touching your head.
It's not saying...
Because don't let the blade catch you.
You have said.
Don't let the blade catch you.
You have said
in any case,
that.
I don't want to intercept you when you are talking. So also allow me to talk. When I finish, you have the right to...
I'm finishing this. You are tarnishing the image of someone.
So, Honorable, so go ahead.
When I tarnish it,
you should be here to answer for that.
I'm not telling the man. You are putting words in my mouth.
He's not said the minister wants kickback. He hasn't said the minister wants kickback.
In the context that
he's not said the minister wants kickback. So, Honorable, you go ahead with the reasons why you think this will fail.
Yes. So I'm giving you 3 reasons.
So the majority name. Some members were not there to sign.
But they signed for them.
The business you said is not agent. Yes, but I said the business is not agent.
And I've just told you that businesses that they thought are agents are one, establishing a university for JB in the name of JB Danko Adbonsu. They thought that is very important. They also thought that ratifying a mining lease agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Barari DV Ghana Limited for the exploitation of lithium at Eunya in the central region is agent business. Again, they said that ratification of mining lease agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and the Ashanti Bauxite Company Limited for the mining of bauxite.
So who decides what is agent?
In Nyinahini Block 2A in the Echuma Mponua district of the Ashanti region is also a...
Who decides what is agent or not? Who decides what is agent?
You and I know what is agent and what is no agent.
No, but if
what is
the
agent,
people in a particular area need university...
It's an abuse of Article 1123. That's what I want to prove. And that is why, if they think otherwise, they should set up, Mr. Speaker should set up a committee for us to first of all decide whether or not these things...
The committee will decide whether
or not they are agents. Because for me...
So Parliament will be called, the Mr. Speaker sets up a committee. But how will Mr. Speaker set up a committee? The Parliament is not in session. Can he set up a committee like that?
So it will be called not on the basis of their recall.
But Mr.
Speaker
himself
can call Parliament.
Will call Parliament.
When we come, he can say that I've received this petition from the minority led by Afenyo Makin. And I've also received a petition from Honorable Yusuf Suleimana. I'm putting a committee together to go and look at these 2 petitions and advise me. On the basis of that, I take a decision. That is what I think should happen. But you see, Afenyo Makin is becoming too legalistic under such an environment. Take advantage of the fact that the man said he was going to consult. Get back to him. Sit with him. other people will be brought on board. You expand the scope of the membership. And then I can tell you there are very important personalities in this country. When they speak, both sides of the house will listen. Bring them on board and let's judge and have a way forward. But if you think that you want to go to court, if you think that you want to use Article 1123 to call us back, there are other means by which you also ensure that the right thing is done.
What's your interest really? I mean, what do you stand to gain? Parliament is on, they said it's been adjourned sine die. If Parliament is not recalled, does that inure to your benefit? The machinery of the state business suffers. Is that what you want?
Unless we want to describe the Speaker as unreasonable. The Speaker is fully aware of what is happening in this country. And in my opinion, I think that the Speaker will call back Parliament when he's done all the necessary things so that the business of government will continue. Nobody, and I repeat it, nobody, not from the majority side, the NDC majority side, will want government business to stop. We have cooperated so much and we have compromised so much. When I hear people say that the 8th Parliament is not worth it, I disagree. If I tell you the number of things that we have compromised on, to the extent that even the NDC grassroots sometimes will come after us. We are all witnesses to this. But you see, government machinery must work. We know that starting from January 2025, we are coming to government. And we need cooperation from them. And so we must also cooperate with them. That's the only way we can
So the same level of cooperation in quotes you're giving them, should you come to power, have the same parliament repeat itself this way, and they give you the same cooperation you are giving them, would you be happy?
Why not?
Oh, this same cooperation?
No, we are even when we are done, if they can do exactly what we are doing, we'll be good to go. Let me tell you, and Selorm, the truth of the matter is that I was in the 7th Parliament and I saw what happened. And I'm in the 8th Parliament and I'm seeing what is happening. So I'm in the right position to tell which Parliament is even doing well. The problem we created for ourselves started from the 7th of January.
By electing Speaker Gbabin?
No, that's the best thing that happened to this country. By the fact that he was chosen, the MPP side thought that he wasn't the right person and they won't cooperate with him. They won. They show so much disrespect to this man. But I can tell you, he's one of the best. Why do I say so? When you have a leader in a position where two sides are all criticizing him, then it means that he's doing the right thing. There are instances where the minority thought that Speaker was for NDC. And there are instances where we, the majority, also thought that Speaker was for them. It tells you that the man is doing his work. But the disrespect for this man is unprecedented. There was a time they even said that they wanted to remove him. They wanted to impeach him.
But would they have the numbers?
Where? Just to disrupt their own business. Okay? And he held on to this. Patience and... Look, today as I speak to you, the president, and for that matter, the executive, at the point called for what we call a decision day, which he made sure that is in our standing orders now. Why? Because
Decision day means what?
Decision day means that we could take debate on matters on the floor of Parliament, but we will not take a decision on those matters. We will wait for a specific day where government will make sure, or the executive will make sure that all their numbers are in before we vote or before we take decisions. He agreed. And it has found space in our new standing order. Some of us were of the view that, look, then you are not giving the people the right to, as it were, speak the minds of the people on the ground. If my people say that vote against this thing, on that same day that we have taken the debate, let's vote. But Speaker agreed. That is the extent to which he has gone with
So
them.
now you may take a debate, but you will not take a decision.
No, so for instance, Wednesdays, in this particular meeting, Wednesdays were going to be for
Decision days.
Decision days. It is not, it's something that some of us are not happy with, but it's in our standing orders and it is in the interest of the minority, the MPP people, and this is a request they made. This man has made sure that that has come to pass. There are so many things that we have compromised with them, but ego, excuse me to say, is the problem. And so for me, Afenyo Makin and the MPP, if they are listening to me as a small fly sitting somewhere here, my request is that let's believe in consensus building rather than this legal position that he wants to take. This legal position, recalling Parliament, using Article 112, going to court and all those things will only bring chaos to Parliament. And in any case, if you want to do government business, the most important thing for me is to be talking about passing the mini budget rather than talking about ratifications, rather than talking about what is it called, tax exemptions. Anyway, we'll need to see.
Kingsley, so what should the MPP in Parliament be doing? Is this the right approach, or you think others have criticized Afenyomakin of being too legalistic? You know, there are things people say cannot be resolved in a legalistic fashion. There are times you have to put everything down and engage and see how you can make some progress. Do you think it's about time he came down to the level and engaged his colleagues to have business done? Or, you know, his approach, you being a lawyer, so I'm sure you have your biases, but the approach it takes, being legalistic, etc., you think is the way that will give him what he wants?
Thank you. I think we cannot blame Afenyomakin alone in this situation. The normal maxim had been minority will have their say, majority will have their way. Okay, and that occurs when there's a clear majority in Parliament. This is the first time it hasn't occurred. So generally speaking, the two sides must know how to negotiate and
but you think this? You think the MPP side?
Oh, I'm answering the question.
No, yeah, I'm just. Right. You think the MPP side has extended the olive branch enough in this difficult Parliament? You think they've done so?
Oh yes. I mean, you even asked him, and you were citing laws that have been passed, vetting that has gone on and they've gone through and all that. That shows that some work has been done. Particularly, what I foresee as a challenge is the intransigence taken by the NDC on this issue. To the extent that there's even the pedantry of it. Some of it's pedantic. My brother is sitting here saying that because the word majority has been used. Come on. How does that help Ghana? You're going there, you have said that something is more important than the other. All right. Why don't you go there and then focus on those?
But it's raised an issue about possible fraud.
Yes.
Even this majority issue, he can downplay it.
No.
But it's what is keeping Parliament out of business now.
Then that would take us to the legal position. What's the legal position? The legal position is that decision that the Speaker took, that is what has been stayed. Okay? It was an injunction application. When you seek an injunction is granted, what becomes the issue? It means that the status quo is maintained. My brother...
Who communicates that?
My brother...
Yeah,
no,
so
the decision has been made.
Who communicates that?
Who communicates
that?
Sorry?
So they don't know.
The process has been served on the Speaker.
Who
the Speaker
that?
is going there to reverse it, isn't it?
So he should come and tell us until
so the
that.
Speaker hasn't communicated with them.
Listen. Another pedantry of all pedantry.
It is not.
Is that...
No, but address the fraud.
Wait, I'm coming to this. So, as we're sitting here, even my brother making reference to them as minority, he has to be correcting it because I don't know what you're using that word for. What does it? How does that assist?
It comes with the
how
law.
does that assist your?
It comes with the law. It's a constitutional matter.
Precisely. Then you are making it legalistic. Then
it's a constitutional matter, and that is why
so
if he wants to go
and in doing so,
if he
going
constitutionally, we will go ahead.
You are not.
Nobody is stopping him from going to court, and nobody is stopping him from using this process. What we are saying is that we will also trigger other legal issues.
You've raised a number of issues, and he's addressing them. So he's dealing with the majority, he's dealing with the fraud, and he's dealing with the urgency of business. So let's allow him to flow.
Go ahead.
When you come for Bolívar, what do you have there? Guinea fowl.
Go ahead.
What do you have there? Guinea fowl.
We don't fear to eat guinea fowl.
Why? I'm going to ask him that from here. You must buy guinea fowl for me.
I'm saying
for
interrupting
me.
I'm saying that you should fear guinea fowl.
But you are eating it.
No, you still eat.
But I'm not like
I will eat it. For interrupting me, you have to buy it. Now back to the issue. So that is the pedantriness of it. Doesn't help anyone. The court has rescinded that decision and said that come within 7 days, file your, so that we go into the substantiveness of it. It means that what it was before this occurred is what we revert into. So I agree that it is fun. You see, when we were marching in Parliament, it's fun. But I think there's a limit to some of the things we do, because we have entrusted in you very serious business, passing laws and doing all that. So I think the focus is going on to other things that's making you seem more powerful. You are the ones who resisted this. At times you can go there and sing this song, help us to resist, and repeat that side. Come on.
You think it's not important?
No. Your business
If
in
you
Parliament,
are,
your business.
No, I don't want to you finish. I don't want to interrupt.
Yes, don't interrupt him. So,
you see, when I'm saying things and he's hitting him, he
Oh,
can't.
no,
even
now
read.
no, he'll make he'll make the notes and respond.
No, but if he responds,
But
again,
if it is Guinea Valley he wants, if it's Guinea Valley he wants, I can get him more Guinea Valley.
Exactly, and now I want it.
Okay, with hot pepper.
So that we all know.
With hot pepper.
But in any case, you see, then again, you are saying that some signatures has been signed, they are not in the country. There are processes that are filed in court that I can WhatsApp it to them or email it to them. They will do so, return it. That is not an issue. Okay. And when
No, he said that the people didn't know.
Well, that is for you to establish.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why he said you write
For
to the
people
speaker.
establish.
You want an opportunity to establish them.
And then you're talking about certain bills, and in your own estimation,
They are not urgent.
important and whatnot. What the people of Ghana want is parliamentary 10. I am not sure. I stand to be corrected. Please correct me. The money for the election has been approved by you guys.
For EC?
Yes. It
Yeah,
has
so
it has-
2024
yeah,
budget
it
has
has-
been
it has
approved.
been-
Oh, so included
Yeah,
all.
everything, yeah.
But at least a mini budget, you said. It's important for all.
But it's not here. Your people didn't bring it.
It doesn't mean that you can't go back to the house.
But this is why
and
they're
consider-
calling us
No, but
to
you
come and
cannot.
do.
It doesn't mean that when you go to the house, you can't go to the house and consider that.
It is possible to go to the house and attend to only this business a day and close.
So, in the atmosphere of the same consensus building, you're going to oppose this. You are still fomenting that division. And then you blame it on him that he's being legalistic. No. Go, all of you, go to the house.
How do we
people
go?
of Ghana. We, the people of Ghana. Because he's calling it. Don't oppose it. Go and
I
do
will
business.
oppose it because he's not doing the right thing.
It's legalistic and pedantry, if you ask me. It's pedantry.
He is using the legal
You see,
process.
No, because he has to petition the speaker.
And
to
I'm saying
call.
that he could have just gone to
that
speaker,
decision-
sit with him,
That decision.
and speaker will call back
decision-
parliament.
That decision.
Unnecessarily-
is another pedantry thing. Whether a letter goes or is done
okay.
viva voce, it doesn't amount to anything. Go to parliament and do what we the people expect you. Then you can now break and go and do your politicking. How many days? Is it 40 days or 39 days? I don't know.
To do what?
For
to
election.
elections. I think 41 days.
41 days.
41
yes,
days.
42.
Yeah, 41 days.
So there's a lot to be done to achieve. Then you can go and do your politicking. But for now, we the people of Ghana expect you people to be doing certain things. And all you are doing is you are hanging on to the word of majority and minority and majority. The status quo ante is what is in place. So please, let's go ahead. We expect
No, I think
things from you.
what we are not getting right is the fact that Parliament, we don't just do things on our own. We have rules and regulations. We have a standing order that we respect. And I'm saying the only person who communicates to us is the Speaker.
And the Speaker hasn't
So if
communicated.
there's any ruling, we expect Speaker to come to us and tell us. I can't just listen to radio commentary.
But
on-
couldn't the Speaker have communicated this to you on the day he adjourned Parliament?
No.
And
Would
he
that
said
amount to
radio
business?
If he had,
That wasn't decision. That
it
was
wasn't decision.
But that was
if the
business.
Speaker had said that I have received
this communication, from the court.
revoking or suspending my earlier decision, and so the 4 members that I have asked to go home can now resume work automatically. At that point, he doesn't even need to tell us that you are now in minority. No, but this communication hasn't come, and the only
No,
way
but
this
why didn't he provide this communication on the day he adjourned the House? Or your numbers did not allow? Because your numbers
saying-
could make you do business.
I'm saying that even the tension on that day, if I were Mr. Speaker, perhaps that day I wouldn't even have come to work. Because if you saw the number of MPP people on
But
Parliament,
we saw that there were just a handful of people who
no,
were
4 buses.
really.
I saw them. In fact, to the extent that they became annoyed and started blaming each other that they didn't give them proper breakfast. I'm telling you something. So there was so much tension. In any case, when they were there, assuming NDC, even if there were not many, assuming NDC also said that, oh, we have seen NPP people here, let's also bring our party members.
That would have been chaotic.
And so you think speakers should entertain this?
So I think we've learned from that, actually. I think we've learned from that.
So they cause it.
No.
If you don't take that, they cause it. Let's go on.
Speaker found a nice way of...
So you endorse the way Speaker managed the day?
No, I would have thought that he would have gone to say, having received this from the Supreme Court, we are going to the status quo ante. The narrative being put out there is as if that after the Supreme Court has given a decision, they have to now take a decision.
No, we have to be informed officially.
Yeah. So I'm saying the narrative out there, I'm not saying you are saying.
Okay.
The narrative out there is like, after that, they must go and now take a decision based on that. No, because the fact is, you know the import of an order of the court. However it comes to you, you obey it. Especially because you are three arms of government, and we are all building Ghana. So the posture that someone is important than another person and one not, it doesn't even arise. So any posture that creates that, it's fomenting the idea, that narrative.
Good.
Now, so he came in there, and then he achieved the same thing. If we had told the parliamentarians that based on this order we are doing this, he achieved that by dancing around that issue and still against Parliament Synod. And I'm thinking Parliament must come back. The issue is, when they come back, are they still going to insist that they are sitting here or there?
We will.
Between this, no, it doesn't work out well.
We will.
No, because you must.
It's just for you to know.
No, you must respect them.
Between
now and then,
officially,
how many days does Speaker have after the petition is submitted to him? 7 days. Within 1 week.
1 week.
So we are expecting that by Tuesday, Speaker will make a pronouncement.
No, but I'm going to ensure that
your petition goes before the 1 week.
Between now and then. They should be talking behind the scenes.
Exactly the point I was coming to.
I'm saying that my petition will go before the day so that he cannot pronounce judgment.
They should be talking behind the scenes so that when the parliament is called, the minority will go back to their seat. Majority will sit here. They will fast track whatever is happening in the Supreme Court. We all have clarity. And we'll go on as a people.
Very well.
It is very possible that in the next parliament, this is the 9th, the executive may go to one party. Parliament can go to another party. So this is a test.
That's how it was supposed to be until it was stolen.
No, we don't do that. All right, so the point I want to ask you, let's go out of order. The point is, it does appear that, for the last few times, matters in Parliament have been taken to the Supreme Court. Others have talked about separation of powers, etc. I have my own views on that, though. But is it concerning to you, as somebody who works around Parliament, that Parliament matters often are taken to the Supreme Court, and by virtue of that, Parliament is hamstrung in a way and is not able to do its work the way it has to do it? Are you concerned about that?
Yes, we are very much concerned about that. But before that, I must say that it's very difficult when you are dealing with politicians.
I tell you.
I mean, it appears that you will never have your way. Okay, but it's a serious issue for all of us because for some time now we've seen that already, even before this time, we saw that Parliament has always been at the short end of the stick when it comes to separation of powers, organs of state. They are always pushed to the corner, even with the long reach of the executive into the Parliament about that 50% ministerial appointment and all that. So we are even more worried now that we are having a lot of issues being decided by the Supreme Court. And you know, Mr. Speaker, that is Alban Bagbin, has been in the House since 1993. And you know him as trying to assert the authority of Parliament. And you could even remember that on Tuesday when he was giving his ruling, he mentioned all these things that we're talking about, being served from the court, and then looking at the composition of the House and the difficulties that surrounding it and all that. But interestingly, he didn't pronounce on whether he's abiding by the service by the Supreme Court. I believe that he believes that he's in his right jurisdiction to have done what he did. And let me, I'm not a lawyer, but we've been concerned about the position of Parliament when it comes to the separation of powers and how things are done. And when you look at Article 97(1) that we are looking for interpretation on, you look at the Constitution from 93 up to about 130 or so, talks about the legislative arm of government. So 97(1), when you look at the beginning, is talking about what happens when one has to vacate its seat, right from A up to H. So it says at the top that this, when it happens, the person vacates his seat. So 97(1) directly is talking about how to vacate your seat. But often I've heard that the 99 bit had been cited. And I think that the 99 arises when there is a dispute. Because the 99 is talking about when there is a dispute about the 97 and we don't understand each other about how the seat has become vacant, the 99 kicks in. What it means is that then somebody must pronounce on the 97(1)
for there to be a dispute.
Exactly.
For there to be a dispute.
Yes.
Because we don't expect that in the House of Parliament, when the seat became vacant, then the Supreme Court will be called, or the Supreme Court will be the one to come to Parliament and come and indicate that these 4 seats have become vacant. That is not it.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes.
So it means that the Mr. Speaker has the right jurisdiction. Order 18 of the new standing orders gives Mr. Speaker that authority.
No.
And then it says that inform Parliament. So if it says inform Parliament, you are informing Parliament based on the conclusion that has come. Because when you look at 97(1), it's clear. It's saying clear that you vacate that seat. But somebody must inform the House. So Mr. Speaker comes to inform the House that based on Article 97(1),
these 4 seats
have become vacant. And then when there is a dispute on it, then you go to 99 to trigger. So we have been a bit in and out there, but because of the political discourse around it, for us as parliamentary watchers, we cannot intrude so much into that kind of discussion. So we always defer to the political parties and the legal minds. But we are very much worried about how this particular discourse is going. And currently, it looks like we are not seeing the end of this particular dispute. And this morning, our honorable member is telling us that even the petition that has been sent
it's questionable.
To Mr. Speaker,
it's fraudulent.
And it's going to counter it.
It's fraudulent.
It's going to counter it. Now we have other issues to deal with in Parliament. That is about the issue is talking about the
mini budget. Yeah.
If they had put it in there,
important.
I wouldn't have triggered this issue. If they had put in this,
but they can do an addendum.
But
they should bring it.
Yes, when it comes to the floor,
we don't have control over that.
When Parliament is recalled, then you can make this issue and put it in. So but if you go the other way, then it means that we are going to hold Parliament in abeyance, and still we are not coming back, and there's no end to it. But one more important thing that I think will stop all this. What is stopping the Supreme Court from pronouncing on this particular interpretation of the Article 97?
But arguments must be filed and all of that. Those things haven't happened.
So why don't we expedite the whole thing so that we finish very quickly?
But
because it's very important to all of us.
Thank you very much.
It's very important to all of us.
I'm sure by the time they finish this, the election would have.
Oh, no, because they give him a short time to do so, isn't it? And already his lawyer has gone there, so we don't know what.
They will come for extension of time, and they will come for a lot of things. All right, let me take a few messages. Skelly says, based on what has transpired over the past few weeks, Aponyamakin has proven to be very inexperienced in people's management and leadership maneuverings and conflict resolution. Also played into the rhetoric of the judiciary being in bed with the ruling party. Chairman Sabons would have handled this by getting the other side to talk and resolve.
It would have been a different
This whole thing has thrown light
Trust me.
on our cultural adage that elders have wise counsel. There is a big difference between knowledge and wisdom. I say no more. This one
You
from
say no more.
this one from Patrick Bressy says, "Good morning, Selorm. Please ask your guests whether the opening statement under Article 97, Clause 1, quote, a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat, is referring to a seat in the subsisting tenure of Parliament or a future tenure, please." That should go to
Yeah,
you.
but then that is subjudicated. That's why I avoided it.
Okay.
Because we have our views. But that is the reason why they didn't go. They
It's
didn't
so
use
clear.
99, but they used they
97.
went to 130 because 99 you have to be armed with those matters to make that decision whether it's vacant or not. But once it has become a constitutional interpretation issue, then under 130 we have gone to the Supreme Court.
So just to take you on the other 18, is it other 18 you read
Yes.
about the information?
Yes.
So there are a number of instances under which a seat can be vacant. If the MP dies, for example, I'm not sure if the MP dies. I mean, it's automatic. If the MP resigns, that's automatic. So in that case, we inform. So I think the word inform in the standing orders flows along the same path.
No. In
That
that
if you
case-
forfeit your party
No,
membership,
I disagree with you.
if you
because
forfeit your party membership, it's automatic. It triggers itself.
Exactly. And in their own
And the
constitution-
Republic Constitution even
I-
says so.
I disagree because there has to be a reason why the standing orders in 2000 was amended to 2023. And the word has
Declaration changed to
specifically-
inform.
Exactly. And then
But will
we want to see the answer.
But will this-
wait.
Yeah, and
Want to
see the arguments.
answer, the arguments that was proffered by both sides.
But
What I'm seeing that is that for the new standing orders, you will see it happen. You and your brothers, and I'm including everyone, including the majority, for which you are the minority. And I know you want an argument, and I want it. I can see you going there, right, and bringing clarity as to who triggers that, because you seem to have taken that power from the speaker by inform.
No.
No, you have.
No.
So
In any case, how do
wait.
you- how
So
do
you will
you-
go. So you will go.
It's a constitutional matter.
You-
You're making reference to 97.
So you will go.
And 97 is clear.
as a result
As to who
of-
even does it.
You see,
It's
you
not an
will
issue
go
here.
as a result of this decision from the Supreme Court, and then you will bring clarity as to who triggers it. Is it that I am going
but-
to
but
be?
you see-
Wait. Is it that I am going to be? I am going to look for things you've done without your party coming to inform me, writing to me. I'm going to look at things you've done and say that based on that.
No, but if the
you are
facts,
out.
if the facts
There's
bear
evidence.
me out,
Yes.
there's evidence
Yes.
that indeed I have
You are not
filed
part of the
to
party
be
again.
independent.
In
And by the party's own
coming
constitution.
constitution, because then
No,
you're
but-
going
no,
round.
but-
Then you're going round.
No.
You're going round the
No,
issue
no.
so that we discuss this constitutional matter, which I'm avoiding.
Which is sub judice.
But,
Great.
but he is saying that in a mere parliament, I intend to do this. Is this that person saying that I won't come to parliament?
No, but you are doing the
Wait,
same
wait,
thing. You are doing what you're doing sub judice too, because it's
Precisely.
So
So
you're
let's
doing sub
avoid that.
judice. So there are two
Precisely.
rival meanings.
Precisely.
We have now sought to put
Exactly.
on
Exactly.
otherwise
Because you,
clear
Honorable,
provision.
Yes.
If you do that, you are not saying that.
An
you-
otherwise
I
clear
should
provision of the
cut. Are you saying
constitution.
that?
No, it should
we
be
have
cut.
now tried
It
to
should be cut.
So let's leave that
obfuscate
decision.
it
Because I wasn't
and
going to
put
work
the
for
rival
you.
meanings.
So why should I take it?
So let's.
In any
so
case,
let's-
it happened
let's-
to
let's leave
Formina
let's-
MP. And
let's-
it was you people
let's-
who did that to him.
Alright,
Because
so-
we
no,
wrote that party.
No, I have another question.
And that's
No,
the-
Kingsley,
and that's the-
no,
that's
Kingsley.
It's
the-
automatic.
Guys, let's
don't need to write.
maintain some order.
Look,
Kingsley, I have
when-
another question. Honorable.
I'm maintaining the order.
Yes.
When somebody
Honorable.
dies,
Honorable, so I have another question, Kingsley. You think that this current impasse we have, and a few more like this we may have, could be resolved legally, or it could be resolved politically? You know, the Constitution is both a political document and a legal document. It's not everything.
organism.
It's not everything in the Constitution that you can or you may resolve using the legalistic approach. There are things that can be resolved or should be resolved politically. You think this impasse we are having in Parliament will be better resolved politically, or it will be better resolved legally?
So this is my position on this matter. That is why I pick issues on standing on the word majority and whatnot, because it becomes a stumbling block for resolving matters. And you are using the word politically. I don't think the word resolution should be politically, because if you say that, then they have vested interest. Yes.
No, I mean using the political route rather than
so you can use
resorting to the courts.
The negotiation approach.
Okay, so that's what I mean.
Yeah, so that we resolve it. I think that is the way to go, personally. You see, and I know of cases that has gone from here. Was it Alavanyo and that land? Went all the way to Supreme Court and came back saying till the government took the decision to militarize that zone. It's not everything that, even as well. It's not everything.
I just said exactly.
Today you agree with me.
I said exactly. For me, I think that consensus building is the way to go.
Exactly. You see, but
if you want to be legalistic,
that's why
go.
That's why I didn't want the word political, because at this stage where we have 41 days to elections, anything political has all the emotions and passions to it. But we have to calm all that down, and then we look at how we're going to go about this without the political coloration so much that we don't achieve something for ourselves. And I'm saying that to trigger that, if we ask for abridgment of time, Supreme Court makes a decision on this, that will guide, because someone has to definitely trigger this issue of it being made vacant. If the person, because if you look at the first line of the question, said the person shall, so he shall. All right, but if he doesn't do so and becomes contentious, who triggers it? You can see that there's another case filed in the High Court by my learned friend, Samuel Kwakwadu.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That went to the High Court.
Yes.
All right.
I went to the High Court to do what? To declare the 4 seats?
No,
there's a lot, I will send it to you.
Okay, I've
There's a lot happening in there.
Okay.
To say that the 4 seats here should be declared vacant. And then 2, what the Speaker did was right and all that. Okay. So when clarity is brought to this, then we can find our way forward. But the playing on the word majority really doesn't solve the problem.
No, okay.
Let us find our way forward with this matter without the political colors, especially in these last 41 days. Because you see what when the press conference came, they said they want to repeal some laws and that will gain. The people, these are the ones who are thinking about us. It's a political antics. The
COVID levy and all those
yes.
things.
Knowing very well
yes.
that a private member bill,
Yeah.
if it touches on the coffers of Ghana, it has to be brought by the government. So if in instances where private member bill has touched on that, the government assumes it and that's it. But this one, you are saying you are going to do it. After that, who's going to sign? Will you now send it to the boss of the GRA?
No, of course, if you don't sign it, because even
so it's a politics.
It's a politics of it.
No,
now they'll be shouting like president has want to sign it.
No, it's just like the LGBTQ one that he refused to sign.
Remember.
But Ghanaians are aware that we have
He's
done
refused to
our
sign the
part.
witchcraft bill too.
You understand?
The witchcraft bill too is
Yes.
there. So it's not just the LGBT.
Yes, so but what we are saying is that, yes.
So whilst we are waiting for progress to be, because you see, we all make reference to US and UK. They've also had their time, and then we moved on from there. So we are seeking and looking to move on from there.
Clement, what do you think should be the way forward on this?
So for now, the negotiation issues that we're talking about, I think that we should all get down our high horses, know that there's a country
To run.
So first of all, I'll call on the majority.
Very good.
I'll call on the
MPP.
the majority.
Clement is contempt of parliament. What you are doing is contempt.
But if you follow it, you are also in contempt of court.
You understand?
So on the NDP side,
He's lying.
and the NDC side,
Yes.
Very
we know
interesting.
that we should actually come to the table with something that will help the nation. Because as we speak now, I'm sure that Mr. Speaker is thinking about how to actually handle the House when indeed he has to recall the House. Because the two sides of the House are not ready to understand each other and to compromise on issues. These are some of the things that we are talking about. We are not saying that they do not reach consensus on most of the issues, but the most important one that will hold us in abeyance, just like what we are having now, that's what we expect them to have some consensus on. It's very difficult as we speak now to indicate directly what should be happening, because when you look at, for us who are parliamentary watchers, we believe in the independence of Parliament. So most of the time we are biased towards Parliament, that Parliament should be given the right forum to be able to assert itself and do what it has to do. But at this point, we are also looking at the Supreme Court that also has the jurisdiction to interpret constitutional matters. And that its jurisdiction has been invoked. So what do we do about that? Should the Speaker not listen? Should the Speaker just forget about it and behave as if nothing has happened? So at this point in time, I think that the right thing must be done. Mr. Speaker has been petitioned to recall the House. The House will be recalled. That is, so one of the issues is who is going to determine the importance of the businesses or the agency of the businesses. I think the last time there was a similar thing, Mr. Speaker refused some of the items on the.
Mr. Speaker dismissed some as not being important.
He refused to take some of them because he indicated that some of them were not that urgent. I don't know if this time he's going to do that and say that, okay, these are not urgent. So we realized that he only permitted the ones that he thought were urgent. And then when that was done with, he didn't.
So it's likely he will do a similar thing. So you deal with all the ones he deems important, and then Parliament goes back into suspension.
Yes, but I think that, Mr. Speaker, I see him. Yes, I see him as being very concerned about national unity, because most of the time when he's giving his ruling, he takes into consideration all these things. Sometimes even ignoring his own party that he belongs to. So the recalling of the Parliament too, there is some difficulty in there, because the order talks about within 7 days he should decide to recall Parliament. Yeah. So it could be that within the 7 days you make a decision. Say that, okay,
I'm deciding I'm calling it
in the next 2 weeks. You see, but that's why I think that the route that Honorable is talking about, that they should rather engage him.
But if you want to be legalistic, then we will be legalistic.
Yes. So they should rather engage him and being the father that they all call him, they call him father or father. And I think that they should use that route rather to convince him to do the right thing. So at this moment, it's a very difficult moment for us, but I think that if the political parties are minded about national unity and forward-looking gestures, I'm sure that we'll be able to find solutions to it. And
very well.
I think that
yes,
Honorable is ready to...
I agree with you that if we were to build consensus, if we were to negotiate, that would be better than going this legalistic way. Because for me, I said it here, it's not as if the Speaker is stupid, the Speaker is reasonable, the Speaker is a statesman, he's somebody who wants to see this country move forward. And this is a man who has served so much in his lifetime, this nation, and will not want to do anything that will discredit him, okay? So if I were in the shoes of the minority, you go sit with him, okay? And then Jojo, you have a way of calling back Parliament. You would have agreed with him the subject matter for which he should call Parliament. And I tell you, if he reached out to the majority and said that, look, these are the issues, for the sake of the country that we are all building, for the sake of peace, I think we should do it this way. I can tell you, we respect the Speaker very well. We would have listened to him. But if you choose to disrespect him and to think that you use the legal way to get your things done, let's leave and see how it will happen. But you see, we are all mindful of the fact that the Parliament of Ghana is established by law. And the law has also given it some responsibilities to play and some immunity. So at what point do we allow people to even infringe upon our rights? Now make reference to Article 115. Article 115 allows a freedom of speech, debate, proceedings, okay? And that all this shall not be questioned by anybody outside Parliament. So today, part of our proceedings is being questioned.
I've been questioned by...
So should we fold our arms and say that let go? The same constitution that gives the Supreme Court or the High Court the right to interpret is also giving us the right to have freedom of speech, freedom of debate on the floor of Parliament, and to ensure that our proceedings are not interrupted. Now, as we speak,
Article 112.
122, yeah, 122, yes, 122 as well as 115.
I see.
Now today,
Interesting.
we are saying that the speaker should fold his arms because the court has spoken. In any case, is that the right platform? They should have gone to High Court. Why have they rushed to the Supreme Court?
I see.
All these
They are going
issues
for
will have to be
analyzed.
They are going for
But I
interpretation.
think let me close the chapter on this. Mr. Speaker has now what?
Responded to
The Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court. Do you have information?
Yes, so his lawyers have responded.
They've responded.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
All
the
right.
information I picked.
All right, sure. Let me close this with a few messages. Please, Article 97 talks about vacation of seats when the MP does certain things. Which seat is in reference here? Those who talk about future election, does anyone have a seat in the future parliament?
Exactly.
The law is becoming ridiculous, Prof. from Tema says. Good morning, Selorm. I was very much disappointed in the Speaker for adjourning the House indefinitely. The Speaker should have stood his ground so we see who has the balls, you say. Seriously, Ghanaians are not angry now. Jones Adobo in La.
Advancing the cause of Ghana.
No, listen to this. Chris, listen a message, but I think it's from Elvis. I think you have to answer this. So, Selorm, why won't the Supreme Court interpret all ambiguous laws so we can move forward with our lives?
Because as you said, the Constitution, not any law.
Yes. So he said. So why won't the Supreme Court interpret
Identify
all the
all
clauses
the
or
controversial
provisions
ones.
which are ambiguous and controversial once and for all, so that we move on with our life? That's the question.
Because that is not the Supreme Court's job. The Supreme Court in itself cannot even enter into a matter. Someone has to invoke the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. So even the Supreme Court can be observing and say, hey, this matter, and they have their view. But if someone doesn't come and invoke their jurisdiction, they have no business entering into the matter. It is only because someone has invoked the jurisdiction. And then, again, the Supreme Court doesn't give lectures. There has to be a live matter.
It doesn't give legal advice.
Legal advice, no. That's why I'm using the word lectures.
Yes.
You see, it has to be a live issue. So you can't go and create a situation, a scenario, and say because of the Supreme Court interpreted. No. There has to be a live issue going on that they have to bring their bearing on. And so that is the only times that the Supreme Court will come in. There has to be a live issue, and someone has to invoke their jurisdiction.
Very well. So this is the big issue. You just said my guest. We had.
But he hasn't interpreted his position on Article 122 and 115.
Because I expect these to be what the lawyer for
the speaker
would
deal with or will argue.
Will argue, yes. But then in doing so, you see, it doesn't say here that it doesn't include constitutional matters. Okay, so the fact is that
also excluded constitutional matters.
No, but this is
I mean,
but constitutional matters will always come up.
So the fact is that if
it's embedded in there.
You see, there even used to be a case in Mekankan case where if it's unambiguous,
there you go ahead.
There you go ahead.
But I think the Zanato case has changed everything.
The Zanato case has changed that. The Zanato case is that once there are ulterior views,
once somebody's raised that the fact that it's a rival meaning, pause and let the Supreme Court.
And then when they interpret it, the Supreme Court cannot come to the Parliament and say, now do this. No, the Supreme Court will interpret it. Parliament will use that in its deliberations. That's the beauty of
the fear is that tomorrow somebody goes to court, the Supreme Court to say that the way Speaker is going about his business, I think that is infringing upon this particular clause.
And the Constitution.
Yes, and so what is it called? Tell Mr. Speaker to stop work so that you interpret it and then we'll continue.
But that is the essence.
But that's what has happened.
That's what I'm saying. So once we allow this to go, what we're likely to see is Parliament stopping work.
No, but that's a genuine concern.
Exactly.
That's a very genuine concern. That's why I think that the ratio in the Zaneto case must be really looked at again. Because so if Parliament has to take a decision.
So when the ratio favored
I'm just saying
NDC, they kept quiet.
Yes, so that's part of the political conundrum we have.
Do you realize that they're even making the issue of the Article 99 that says the High Court has a jurisdiction?
Yes.
Do you realize that even that it was in the High Court, then that constitutional matter, okay, so it was referred to
the Supreme Court.
Now Justice Atukuba assumed that from now we commit ourselves the jurisdiction of the High Court, which he has the power to do. So the Supreme Court has the jurisdiction of all the courts. and now decided the matter and it ended there. People did not make any issues out of that.
I mean, so it's a game of interest, which I think
the issue
principle must precede interest.
Precisely.
In 20,
the principle is that if there are rival views, we must refer.
But you see, the issue about the rival views, there could be a very clear constitutional provision. I may convince myself of a rival meaning and put it on it and get, if it's a political party, get my followers to trumpet that view. And once it's said many times,
I am glad
people will see that as a rival
view. I am
view.
glad you are making this an issue because that is what I see happening now.
Exactly what
That's
what
I see.
Yeah, that's what it is. And you see,
that's
a danger.
That's what I see happening.
That's a danger we must guard against.
Precisely. That is
why the Supreme Court must be careful when it comes to
that is why we
political
must
cases.
be careful how we want to toy with our institutions.
But do you agree that there's another decision, that the ratio in that must be relooked at? That once it is raised,
I have to look at it carefully before.
Once it is raised, you stop.
Yeah, but I have to look at it carefully before I side with you, because you see, the Constitution, as we said, is a living organism. It grows and it solves our problems. And so, if there are more instances where we probably have to look at that, the Supreme Court will do that. Or a case will come up and the Supreme Court will elongate the panel and do that. But you see, in not laying blame, we are now looking at 122 and the rest and say that we are masters of our own. That's not the situation. We do not rate that into it. It is the fact that Parliament must assert itself and do its work perfectly. At the end of the day, all the Supreme judges have to be vetted by Parliament before they become so. But a small thing left in the Supreme Court, let's leave it there.
Which is
interpretation.
Exactly. So go ahead with the interpretation.
Yeah, but that's what you're doing. But in doing so,
what happens if the interpretation
is
goes other way?
In doing so,
if, let's say,
in any case, for me, if you ask me, they have not.
Let's say if the Constitution, no problem, I'll come back to you.
Oh, this time it's not like somebody's on the floor. We all.
How
can we? I even asked this question.
The point is that if the Supreme Court,
that's why you don't get guinea fowl.
If the Supreme Court, for example, I mean, if this didn't stay the hands of whichever body, and later the Supreme Court makes a ruling or a decision which is contrary to the interpretation put on it by Mr. Speaker, the harm would have already been caused. The guys would have already been out of Parliament. The life of this Parliament might have ended. So there would have been no way of the people coming back to complete their term. So that consideration is also there.
No, so but my point is that this action infringed upon our right
as Parliament. So that's solid. I mean, from the constitutional provisions.
That is where we want to stand.
No, but if
and on the basis of that, even if Speaker says that he's not going to go by this, I'm not saying that he will do it. I'm not saying he will do it.
But again,
for the sake of this country,
we don't want set is that Supreme Court makes a decision and somebody will say, well, I have to think about it first.
But Supreme Court must be careful in making such decisions.
Yes, but Supreme Court is the Supreme Court.
Because for me,
even S-Party says that
judiciary independence is very important.
It is.
And when we are getting to, if we are not careful.
But the judicial independence.
Where?
Please, no, I'll take you that part.
Maybe when we can go.
No, I beg you.
And I have instances to cite. And I hold my opinion.
You probably have to make this narrative on another day. And we'll come and see.
I'm taking a short break. And,
I'm not a lawyer, but honestly,
I appreciate that. When I come back, we'll look at the politics proper. This one is related with law and politics. Look at the politics proper. Where are the candidates? Mahama is in Accra. Bamia is in the Volta region. Jane is was in the central region as of Wednesday and went to the Upper East. We hear she's taking it easy. Napo is with some institutions, health and nursing training institutions, etc. What is the complexion of the campaign becoming? Is it becoming blue or is it becoming green? Also, what are the issues driving this campaign? Is it jobs? Is it education? Is it health? What really what will make you vote for a particular party? What is the circumstances of your life? We'll come back and look at that. Don't go away.
Complete this rhyme. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
How are you working how?
Who is that?
Welcome to The Point of View.
Welcome to Face to Face on Channel 1 Television.
And hello, welcome to What the Papers Are Saying.
This be football made in Ghana. It be the only pidgin show where it day on your screen. Channel 1 TV.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. This is a big issue. We are 97.3 City FM. We're on our socials as well, and we are happy you are joining us with your comments and all of that. One, which is coming from Kweku in La Paz, says, Selorm, our Supreme Court is doing politics rather than the law. So that's what Kweku in La Paz says, and a few others have sent some messages I'll read later. Now, we want to delve into the politics. We want to go around and see what the politicians are doing and what they are saying. Indeed, a number of things. The Center for National Commission for Civic Education is in a recent survey put out some key issues that they think will drive the elections. They rank them topmost, middle, and least. In the topmost, they put education as number one. They say education is the number one issue that people are looking at to vote. They also put they put let me give it. They put employment as number two. Employment jobs number two. Health number three. Roads and infrastructure number four. Economy as number five. So 6 is agri, social services, women and children. Number 9 is corruption. Youth development, security, energy. So energy is number 12. So doom so and since number 12. Needs of persons with disability, social intervention policies, etc. I mean, number 14. Also, earlier in the month, Musa Dankwa of Global Info Analytics also did some work, and he put economy as number 1, jobs number 2, education number 3, healthcare number 4, roads number 5, taxes number 6, corruption was number 7, petroleum prices number 10, otherwise known as energy, and maybe doom so, water number 8, security, party member, sanitation, others, religion, ethnicity, etc. in that particular order. So we'll look at this. My panelists will give us their own list and what they think will drive this election and why they think so. In the meantime, I'll just go around and find out where their candidates are and what, in their view, is the response they are getting from their people. I'll start off with Honorable. John Mahama has been in Greater Accra. Running mate has been in Central and Upper East and a few other places. How is the campaign looking for you?
Selorm, the campaign is looking very good as compared to previous campaigns. The people are responding very, very well. The decision by the flag bearer of the NDC and the running mate is that don't bus people from one constituency to the other, because we think that you end up just deceiving yourself, and it's also very expensive. So as he goes to your constituency, only the people within that constituency are expected to come. And it's been very, very good. He's able to tell the response of the people. It's not artificial. And so for me, his rounds, let me tell you, when he came to Savannah region, I am a member of parliament for Bole Bamboy, part of Savannah region. I am the chairman of the caucus, okay? But the decision was that everybody should stay, okay, Don't bring your people to Damango, for instance, because he was coming to Damango. He was also going to Daboya Mankargo. He was going to Salaga North and Salaga South. Don't carry anybody there.
But why is it so important for you to make this point? That
it is important because it's important because sometimes when people see other flag bearers with crowds, okay, so we have won the elections already. Look at the number of people who received this person in voter range. For instance, take the MPP presidential candidate into consideration. He was in K2 and other places, South Dai, and people are saying that, oh, look at the number of people who are following him. We also saw where there are videos of people being bussed from one constituency to the other. They bus them when they are done with this one, they give them money again and bus them to another constituency. And that has become some people's business. You know, the unemployment rate is very high. So the little you give to the person and ask the person to sit on a very comfortable bus because they have money to pay and also get something small to put in the pocket, why not? But that doesn't mean that they will vote for you. And we've seen people in MPP t-shirts, after taking the money and doing all these things, they now come to own up to say that, yes, we have followed them because we wanted...
But both parties bus. Both parties...
I'm telling you that this is a directive. And we have gone by that. We have obeyed it. And I believe that many parliamentary candidates are doing it. Normally, people will not do it when there's some money from central party leadership, okay? Giving it to them and asking them to use it to bus the people. In our case, we don't have the money to do it. But they have money, they are in government, and they are abusing incumbency. So they are able to even get buses that belong to state and other things to bus people from wherever.
But if even they get buses that belong to the state, they must pay. The buses are open to everybody.
I can't tell whether they pay or not.
If, for example, they go for STC.
I can't tell whether
STC
they pay or
commercial.
not. I can't tell whether they pay or not.
If they go for
but I'm saying that we
transit,
don't have money to pay. So we are staying our cool, and we are saying that...
So that explains why your numbers are smaller?
No, they are not. If you can if you watch, you even compare. I'm just telling you that if we were to bus, that would have been a different story. But we don't bus.
But what's the message really? What's the message your candidates go around telling the people? What do they tell them?
So many a times, especially those days, when we hadn't even finished with our manifesto, you hear they don't have any alternative. What alternative solution they are bringing? Now, they're not talking about alternatives. They try to discredit some of the policies, they push, they don't get way. For instance, take the 24-hour economy.
The nightclubs.
When the 24-hour economy concept was mentioned, the first thing we heard was that, oh, it's already happening. The vice president said,
but that's a fact.
This is a new thing. But you see, you know, he's my elder brother and I respect him a lot.
The vice president.
But there's a difference between an idea that you just observe and a policy. When something becomes a policy, it means that there is a deliberate effort to formalize it. There's a deliberate effort to ensure that you set targets as a result of that policy, and that you work towards achieving those targets. That's the difference between a policy and something that is just being practiced haphazardly. He got it wrong there when he said that, oh, it was already happening. It was happening perhaps not in a formal and not in a policy state. So the end is, what is not happening in this country? Before NPP came to government, 1D1F was already happening. They came and formalized it and call it a policy. And we agree with them, just that it failed. Now, education, free education, was already happening. They came and put it in a different way they want it, and then call it a policy, and then we all run with it. So the difference between a policy and an idea that is being implemented are different. And so for me, they got it wrong when they said that, oh, this is just something that is already happening. Then another time they said that, oh, who doesn't rest? Even God himself rests. So the 24-hour economy is fake. Meanwhile, this is resonating very, very well with Ghanaians. And what is it about? We are saying that there should be a system where you have one job that 3 people can do in a way that they are able to get jobs to do, and in a way that we are going to increase production. And once we do this, we would have been creating more jobs and putting money into people's pockets. And we have come out, the motivational package that we have, so that people who apply to the 24-hour economy, whether in the private sector or in the
public sector,
you benefit. And ultimately, it is to create more jobs. So this is the message that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC are out there articulating. And I'm happy to tell you that this is resonating very well with the people, and we believe that we are going to win this election once and for all. There's not going to be any second round. We also have the policy of ensuring that we have agri mechanization centers across the districts. I heard the flag bearer of the NPP talking about it. The same thing that we wanted to do. It's not bad. It's just to say that we have gotten it right. And so when he went to one of the districts in Volta region, he said they were going to come out with a cassava processing center and all of that. The NDC under John Dramani Mahama had even started it. They came and collapsed it. I'm saying this with authority. I worked with Ezim Bank, then Edif, and we started to pilot industrializing cassava. And so Damango in the Savannah region was chosen, Kintampo was chosen, and Ejura was chosen. And these were to pilot it and to ensure that we have enough flour. So they were supposed to produce what we call high quality cassava flour. And that was supposed to be used by Iranian Brothers and Co. We have spoken with them, and we are going to now offload these materials to them so that they use it in processing bread and other flour products. Now we brought on board, what is it called? The Food Research Institute. If they are listening to me, they will tell you. So it's not a new thing. We have started it. Unfortunately, that was the first phase. The second year, I was the one who also processed the applications, and we're going to now have another set of companies or factories to produce cassava, to produce ethanol. Okay? And we're going to ensure that by the end of the day, cassava will be industrialized and every district will have something to do with cassava. Those days it was 10 regions, okay? And all the 10 regions except 2, 8, you could do cassava very well there. So Mahama is saying that we're going to have districts who have agri mechanization centers, farmer service centers. Now these centers will have agri inputs, all the inputs that you can think about. We're also going to give you inputs when it comes to fertilizer and all of that at the right time. Once we do this, we will become food self-sufficient in terms of food production, and we will now begin to add value to whatever we produce. If we do that, we're going to create jobs along the value chain, from the farm to transportation, from transportation to manufacturing, from manufacturing to those who will be taken into the farm, to the market. And look, jobs will be created. At the end of the day, jobs is the focus. And if we do that, I tell you, this country, we will have
we'll start doing well.
A good thing to do.
Very well.
Now, in all this, all I want to say is that the NDC is doing well, and the NDC, I can tell you, has won this election in advance. We are going to be complacent, but I can tell you, nothing.
So you started sharing positions.
Absolutely
so your chairman
nothing.
said you shouldn't be sharing positions.
No, absolutely nothing. It's human nature. I sit here, I don't know if anybody has mentioned my name anywhere. For
They say you are sharing positions.
And I'm focused on making sure that Mahama becomes a president. That's the most important thing. So our chairman was just saying that, yes, it looks good. Yes, Ghanaians want to give it to us, but wait and win the elections. And when we win the elections, nobody should raise his expectations. The man is saying that he's going to do with only 60 ministers. So not all of us will get to serve as ministers, but there are other opportunities where we can serve our nation.
Very well. So Kingsley, where is Baumia? We saw some pictures and videos in the Volta region. I mean, that's the NDC's World Bank, but the World Bank appeared to have turned out for you. What's the message there? What's it doing? I mean, what's the trick? What's the magic?
Thank you. One thing I can say about Otto Baumia is that he has this effect on people. All right. The first time I met him, and a group of people who had met him were talking about certain things, challenges we're facing, and it's like, out of the blue, he's able to come up with certain solutions which make sense. I kept on nodding my head, like, see, because it makes sense. That's the kind of person Dr. Baumia is. So he has this unifying personality. There's this air around him which is not obstructive, it is not divisive, it is all-embracing. And you would, no matter who you are, you will relax in his presence. You see, that's the kind of person he is. And if you add that to solutions-oriented person that he is, that's magnetic enough, and that's what we need as a people. So when he goes somewhere, you will see that I wish I could dance like Baja. It's your dance, and we do that. And you can see this young lady dancing on the stage to the extent that another guy jumped over and they were dancing beautifully, nicely. I've been to Who and Denver places to do cases, and they're very, very, very peaceful, very nice, green atmosphere. And so when he goes there, he's able to get that kind of numbers. It is phenomenal.
You said you're embarrassing people.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about the person. And if you told that all people bus, I don't know about that because we are using one bus. Everyone is in it. The campaigns, everyone is in it. We go from places to places. You never see any buses anywhere. So I don't know what he's saying. And it is the solutions we create. We've already said that we want just for IT purposes, about digitalization with drives. And it's important because Tony Blair said that the next phase of the global issues is going to be driven by digitalization. So those who buy into that idea are buying into the future. And that's where Dr. Bawumia is taking us. To the extent that even now, you see he's meeting the entertainment industry where they're creating a platform so that they can disseminate their music and all that, which is already done, isn't it, outside? And so you have to go onto those platforms. And we say we're creating our own. And it's government backed, okay? And he's saying that he's gotten several people to come to create that. That's the kind of person. And is he even on that platform? He didn't take it upon himself. He's acknowledging that other people are part of this. Okay, so that's the kind of person Dr. Bawumia is. And wherever he goes, you will see that. So you see people coming in droves because of his magnetism, because of the fact that everyone wants to come and see him. And then when he gets on stage, we're talking solutions. We're not talking invectives or arguments no, we're talking and insults and all that. We've taken that out of our political narrative. We're taking solutions. That and innovation, that is what he represents. And I'm glad you said that the elections, people are focusing on education. Superb.
According to the NCC.
Yes, superb. Because when it comes to education in Ghana now, the track record that we have chalked is so phenomenal that my brother's party now wanted to put out the narrative that they in fact brought in free education. So when we started playing their criticisms, and that one says the flag bearer, which I respect, Dr. Joma, I respect him a lot. I think he's a very good guy, very nice guy. He said that I think that there's a better candidate to rule Ghana, and that he has lost his chance. He was at the helm of the government. And even if I compare his vice president, not his presidency, when he was a vice president and Dr. Bawumia's vice presidency, the comparison is so wide because Dr. Bawumia has done a lot of things that he's championed. He's been the most visible vice president under the 4th Republican dispensation, you see. So education, I've looked at TVET alone, STEM alone. I've looked at, there's a school in the Ashanti region, girls' school, right, which is not the top 20 or top 10 or whatever. You can mention the national size is going on. You can see the schools coming up, and some of the schools fall, and we say, hey, how could that happen? Because they're at the top. So judging by that, this school is not one of these top schools. They created a vessel, all right? And that vessel, it was tested in Western Region, the Naval Center in Western Region, Takrady. You put it on, it's able to read all the data on the bed of the water, collating data. All right. Then,
right.
Then,
you just tell me that it's time for prayers.
Very well. Then the naval command now said, okay, this is what you miss out on. So show them how you can stay, because the thing was a bit shaky on it. So this is what you put in to stabilize it. These are secondary school students doing that. We all have clips where we say that our children are learning how to do certain things and the Japanese are now manufacturing things. You've seen those clips around. And these are secondary school children who are doing that, ladies who are doing that. I think that is a massive, massive improvement of our educational system. We're talking about health. We're building a lot of hospitals. All right. This November, we will launch a number of Agenda 111.
How many have you built so far?
I said this November. We will
so
launch
8 years. Is November.
But we didn't start.
You're not talking about.
But we didn't start. But we didn't start. We didn't start it from the 8 years.
Why? You didn't see that as a priority?
Oh no.
You didn't see health as a priority?
When you're talking.
No, you posed the question to me, so I have to respond.
When you were talking, I respected your time.
It's all right.
I know you were saying that even when you punch holes in the number of people who gather at a place, I kept quiet. Honorable, don't bring Parliament here. Don't bring that you're dancing that you're doing.
It's all right. It's okay.
Don't bring it here.
Cancel it.
Let's don't bring it here. Let us do. Let us.
I shouldn't bring my Parliament here.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It
doesn't have a Parliament. It's a President of Ghana, just like the Supreme Court. Yes.
I understand. What I need you to do is go and get the chinchinga from here. You are buying from me. You've done about 4 interruptions. You are getting me 4. Now, roads. They did 4,000 kilometers. We have done 12,000 kilometers. And you know what is scary?
You know there's controversy about that number, right? About the figure.
You know what is scary? Now we brought in the drip.
But the drip, have they started working?
Oh, yeah.
Are they working? Because what I see is they are now commissioning or launching them.
And
there's a fight between NDC, MPP. And in my community, I'm waiting for the drip equipment to work.
I was coming from Hacho, right? Coming from Hacho through to Hacho Junction and go to Court 1 of the mornings, all right? And then the traffic was too much in front of transitions. So I used the Bosher Road, went to Academic City. And then from Academic City to that road that links up with Wisconsin is shorter. So I was avoiding the traffic. But I was saying, my shocks, my car, and all that. When I went there,
it was smooth.
Smooth. I was so happy.
The road was dripping.
Stress-free.
The road was dripping.
You see, I've already said that from that Hacho to when you're entering Boshe, it's also cleared. All right.
So that's the work of the drip. Not feeder roads or not urban roads.
No, but
that's
drip. Drip is for
filling potholes.
No. For feeder roads. That drip is not the main roads. Drip is for that. All right.
But it's a department of feeder roads. They didn't do this work.
That also no. That's the local government. Okay. Drip is under local government. As you go through the MCEs and whatnot.
Okay.
That also, when they saw the potential of this, they started fighting it. That is not Dr. Bawumia's idea, and they said, so I asked them, if it's not Dr. We are saying it's Dr. Bawumia's idea. Okay. Was it your idea in Parliament? They said because he came to Parliament and they passed it, and they had to find the money for it from the local government. I'm thinking, if it originates as Dr. Bawumia's idea and it gets to Parliament, would it not come through a substantive minister under which this is being brought? Which would be the local government, isn't it? And he said it will be through the MCs and DCs. Is that not so? Why would he come to Sunday and say, by the way, this was Dr. Bawumia's idea? Is it relevant in Parliament? He is coming to present that in Parliament. And then you voted for it, and you found money for it. Thumbs up to all of you.
So they've only paid 15%, and the rest is for the
where
next
to get the
government.
money from, it was a parliamentary idea, both parties. This part of the building consensus, all right? Both parties found money for it, all right? But the idea that we have to create this drip thing, to the extent that they are now saying all they are targeting is whether it was Bawumia's idea or not Dr. Bawumia's idea. It's Dr. Bawumia's idea. We have said that. You are saying that because in Parliament it wasn't said that, and even when it was being launched, they didn't mention Dr. Bawumia's name. That is neither here nor there.
Very well.
The generation of I'm not done.
No, but I think Selorm, you should be timing us. The time you gave me and the time you gave me.
But you had a long...
No, because I have listed quite a number of things. I never had
I'll take a short break and I'll give Clement some time.
It's not so much the fact that you're able to say more. It is what is visible for people to see.
Exactly.
Dr. Bawumia goes places. And we're not even talking about the MPs yet, and we have avoided that.
MPs,
right?
now. As in the parliamentary seats.
Exactly.
But that's a whole discussion on its own.
Precisely, but you said the elections.
Yeah, the election.
Because
I'm looking
someone
at the presidential.
exactly, but someone must win both the presidential and the parliamentary. 27th, my good friend, my classmate, Michael Quay, is launching his manifesto. If you look at a lot of the constituencies, the MPs alone are launching their manifestos. Have you seen an NDC person launch? I'm giving you an idea.
No, but they are drawing from the main
exactly.
the main manifesto.
But
so that's
suited because you see, particularly parliamentaries, it is suited to the constituency.
But we'll see
where he was drawing. That's why he was asking the question that, what about those who vote for you? What did you go and tell them? How did you win the primaries? And how are you going to break it down to them? And all these, my party, all the constituencies, they are doing that. They are launching their manifesto. So that is what would deliver
the election,
the seats, the presidential and the parliamentary. And I'm saying this one, we are getting majority of parliamentarians.
Very well. We'll take a short break. When we return, I'll hear from Clement, and then I'll also ask my guests to give us the order of priority of the issues they think will determine this election. This is the big issue. Don't go away. You're welcome back. This is a big issue. Final lap, 10 minutes or so, then we'll call it a day. We are looking at the elections, what will decide the election, what the parliament, what the candidates are doing and telling the people as they go around the country. Clement, you have been watching, I mean, from an independent observer's point of view, how is the campaign going?
Yeah, we've had a lot of sound bites, and we have also seen a lot on TV, and I think that the two main political parties have actually put their best foot forward. Each of them is aiming to win this big, but all we are looking for is that by 2025 we'll have a country that is together. By all means, one of them will win. We want to move forward, but I think for us, for me, sitting somewhere, what is important for me is have an economy that is supportive of my pocket, because after all said and done, you want to live in an economy that would help you.
So for you, the economy will be a major determinant,
yes,
in terms of how you vote?
Yes, a major determinant, because a lot of people are voting with their feet, because they feel that it is very difficult for them to live within the economy. And if you look at it, if things do not go well in that direction, whatever you are receiving at the end of the day, if it doesn't go up, it means that you have families to take care of, you have other things to take care of, and what you are receiving is unable to take care of it. So at the end of it all, if you talk about education, if you talk about health, if you talk about all that, my pocket would have to finance those education and those health and all those things. So for me,
what do you make of the smaller parties? I mean, an independence, Cheddar, as in the new face. I mean, new force. Cheddar, Alan, and those guys who initially we thought were doing well. Yeah. What do you make of them? Would they make any meaningful impact in this election? Cheddar and the young people, Alan and a lot of the neutrals and all of that.
I'm afraid they would not make, that's what I think, they would not make that much impact. It has been so in the past. And I have written something about it in the past, that I feel our political, our independent contestants should revise their notes, because I was thinking that they could give us another force if they put themselves together properly. Because Cheddar is a young man. I mean, he's appealing to a lot of the youth. But at the end of the all, they know that he will not be able to win it. So they will be with him, but at the long run, they vote for one of these political parties, either NDC or NPP. And Alan Chairman's Afrofanto, for instance, is also a very experienced politician who can do something. But standing alone is difficult because of what we have seen in the past. So I was thinking that if they can rally their fronts, come together, and form one big political party, or even put themselves together as independent people, but drawing from each other. So, for instance, one of the things I was looking at is, how about Alan Chairmanti pairing with Cheddar, for instance? Because Alan Chairmanti has that pedigree, that political pedigree, and an experienced politician in the past, pairing with somebody who is appealing to the youth, for instance, like Cheddar, with all that, I think they would have made a lot of impact in this particular election. But this one, the way they have gone other ways, it will be difficult for them.
You think this election will go into runoff?
No, I don't think so.
It will be one touch?
I think it's going to be one touch.
I see. Honorable, what matters do you think will determine the election? Education, economy?
First of all, I agree with you that it's going to be a one touch.
Okay, I see.
There's not going to be any second round.
Okay, but it could go anywhere.
If the Electoral Commission will be transparent, will be fair, and if government will not want to use the military, okay, we're going to have a very peaceful election, and there will be a transition of government like we have had it previously, and then we'll move on. Anytime Ghanaians decide again that they want to change NDC and bring any other political party, then they will do so.
Very well.
But as it stands now, I can tell you that this election is a foregone conclusion. You have a candidate who has been given the opportunity to be a running mate or to be a vice president for 8 years, almost.
So you have just 1 minute to do.
That 8 years or so, or almost 8 years, anything good is attributable to him. He has done it. Anything bad is he's not aware of it. That for me is not sincerity. As a human being, there are instances where you would have also taken some wrong decisions. So you should be honest enough to say that, yes, I was part of this. We didn't get it right. This is the way we intend to do it. But that's not what we are hearing. Even the drip, we are told that is Baumia's idea. When drip is collapsing, even before it starts. Come to Bole Bamboy. There's a community called Sonyo. Drip equipment were sent there. 10 good days, they were standing there. Nothing was happening.
Fuel?
Fuel.
But they have money for fuel.
Now I had to go there, use my own means, because that road was very, very bad, very terrible. And the chiefs and everybody were calling on us. The DC has said that they had given it out as a contract, that they were going to do it. 2 years down the line, it wasn't done. Until when the drip equipment came, they sent the drip equipment there. 10 days they were sitting there.
The drip was not dripping.
Doing nothing. I had to go and arrange equipment to go and fix the road. As I speak to you, halfway the road is done.
Very
and I'm asking them to complete the other part of it. So if you have such a situation and anything good, it should go to, what is it called?
Baumia.
Baumia. Anything bad, Nanado is ready to take it. Then there's a lot of insecurity.
So give me the issues or the areas that education, economy, which one in your view?
I don't know whether you read my notes. To be honest with you, everything in this country is hanged on the economy.
So the economy you think would...
If the economy is not doing well, education will not do well. If the economy is not doing well, health will not do well. If the economy is not doing well, we cannot create jobs. If the economy is not doing well, look, roads cannot be constructed.
Very well.
And so for me, the way they have collapsed the economy, we need fresh ideas. We need an experienced hand to come and fix it.
Very well.
And the only person who can do this is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Very well. So Kingsley, I mean, the issues. I mean, of course, you mentioned the other ones, education, etc., as driving the. So your concluding remarks.
My concluding remarks is that there are two persons who are running for the presidential elections. One has run before. He became president. He was rejected.
Only two.
Sorry.
No,
Two frontliners. Thank you very much. The two frontliners.
That's how they underrated us.
We also underrated him.
No?
The two frontliners. All right. One has been president before, the other has not. The one who has been president before has only has 4 years. He cannot do more than 4 years. He has already said that 4 years is not enough to do anything good. You need more time.
He's also said 4 years is enough to reset the country.
He said that to do something to really develop 4 years is not enough. He has said that. Now, what will happen is that 2 years, if the odd chance he becomes president, which we know it will not happen, 2 years into that, they will now be haggling for who's to take over from him because we don't see any succession plan. All right. It will be, and meanwhile, the first 2 years, it will take more than 2 years to finish appointing and doing all that, your so-called reset. It will take more than 2 years. So then, the another 2 years that's left, that's where he's going to be a lame duck and people are haggling for this and that. There will be directionless government if that happens. Now, this person, in the person of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has potentially 8 years. He's already started digitalization, all right? Things are moving. Even when he doesn't have the executive power as a president, what we need is now let's give him the full executive power. And those who are saying that if you can do it now. Now you have the chance to do it because now it will be in his name. And we know that Dr. Bawumia means business. He's shown the way and he can do the job. Let's give it to him.
Very well. So that's Kingsley Amakwa Wedu, Esquire for the MPP. Clement Akolo of the Parliamentary.
So I thought you were going to give me my last comment. You
had your last word.
No, you didn't ask me that it was the last comment.
No, but I didn't just say it was last word.
No, that's not fair. If you had told me that your last comment.
Okay,
I mean,
so,
but you started. You started.
No, when you spoke about this.
So
the same majority minority.
So your last word. So your last word is.
Yes. But I also have my last word.
Just 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds. Then we go.
My last word is that 4 years, 8 years. Compare Mohammed's 4 years in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of how he grew this country, and compare Nanado's 8 years.
Thank you.
And then you can tell
whether
or not 4 years Mahama can do better than Mahama Bawumia-led administration.
Very well.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you so much.
It is Dr. Bawumia who is now coming.
Who has done nothing. He has
Thank you so much, guys. He has
been mismanaging our economy as the chairman of the
My name is Selorm Adonoo. Catch you same time next week.
And because of him, their party is collapsed.